Hello, everybody. Uh, First of all, good night. Apologies for the delay. Um, had to finish a couple things for the stream tonight, and tonight I have here Quox and Robbie, our guests of tonight. And I want to start with welcome to you guys. It's lovely to have you guys here, and good evening. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to the episode. I think that there are going to be a lot of interesting replays, not just the ones that I casted last week. So I'm really curious to see how all the other teams are doing, just so I can get like sort of up to date on how everyone's doing, and maybe not shit my pick'ems because I haven't even started them yet.
Nice.
I'm doing
Uh,
all right. I'm a little hyped from our last series. We got a pentakill in our game three, so that was
oh,
that
so
was fun.
you're spoiling.
Uh,
I,
my bad.
I was thinking about talking about it. So I just kept that as great place. But yeah, I think this is the first penta of the league. I don't know if Aegis has things like that, like um, you know, monitoring, like whose stats in pentakills,
They do,
quadras.
yeah.
That's lovely.
Um, They have so there's a website by Duan, one of the admins of Aegis, who literally has a website that tracks every team and every player's stats, at least to like a basic level, right? Like it's not like insanely detailed, but it is very intrinsic. It's well designed. It's up to date. Um, and like I think I looked, and I do think that was the first pentakill of AGL. I probably have to look again, maybe, just because I think there was a series played before then. Or, I mean, since the last time I checked. But yeah, it's a super cool like stats page. Not only for just like looking at stats, but like also for like scouting purposes and stuff.
Yeah, it's really dope. So we'll see who had the pentakill. I'll keep at least that as with no comments for now. But it was awesome. Congratulations. I hope to see more pentakills, and I'm glad that this was a streamed match because we can actually see that tonight. Um, so the way we're gonna do here is gonna be pretty much going over. We're gonna use the sheets from the AGL roster, the league sheet for AGL as it is. So we're gonna start at Hextag group, go to Chemtag, and finish off on with the Arcane conference. Just so we keep some sort of I don't want to say standard, but
Schedule,
yeah,
kind of.
keep it kind of schedule, like so people know what to expect, when they're gonna be talked about, things like that. Um,
Hmm.
there are a couple things that we're gonna talk as we go because I think there's a lot that has happened in this week. And I feel like it's going to be interesting to talk a little bit about it. Obviously, my intention is not to flame anyone, not to degrade anyone's image, but it's just something we need to briefly discuss. And I'll bring the topic later on. Um, because I feel like it's going to impact a little bit how the groups will end up being at the end of the regular season.
Hmm.
So before, okay, so first let me pull the week two schedule for Aegis. Where is it? Where's my? Oop, this one. Okay. Wait, hold on. This is this the one? Wait, no, this is another one. I have another one. This is the one. Sweet. Okay, so week two, Hackstack groups. We're gonna start with talking about SG Dark Matter and Team Shadow Frame or Shadow Frost. I'm sorry. We're gonna jump into going boosters with Conduit versus Conduit Sports Kraken, and then PF Dreadnoughts versus Forsaken. Remembering that for this group, we do have the clips from going boosters versus Conduit, so it's actually, I believe, the longest clips that we have for tonight. It was a banger of a series, 3 games, a lot of things happening, so very glad to be able to show you guys that. So first, let me bring to the screen the match results, and obviously, since we talk about results, it's not the best, but it will at least we'll get a glimpse of how the games went, who did well overall, who had good KDAs, things like that, so we can keep a watch for that. This is Dark Matter. Wait, SG, yeah, SG Dark Matter versus DSF. I'll just grab these links and I'll bring it uh, on the screen. In the meantime, Robbie and Quax, tell me what were your guys' initial expectations? Um, it's been 2 weeks to series for these two teams. What are your thoughts on them after these 2 weeks? Last week we were able to see a little bit of a Shadow Frost Dominion. Um, so we were able to get a couple of the insight on how the team plays. So tell me what are your thoughts on that, on these two teams?
I, I guess I can go first on that. So I casted Aegis last split with Pretty, and Team Shadowfrost Dominion was one of the teams that we casted, right? So Team Shadowfrost, they didn't actually manage to make playoffs, right? Like they failed to make playoffs, and I'm pretty sure they lost the series that we casted for them. I believe it was actually 3 games, if I'm remembering correctly. But it was pretty not climactic, I'm going to be honest. I felt like TSFD had a lot of issues, specifically centering around like the mid game. Like they didn't really capitalize off of like picks that they potentially made, and basically if they won the early game, the biggest issue was that they didn't like excel that early game. And obviously we don't have the replays for this, but it's good to see that TSFD, are like back in some capacity and are doing well, because like they're one of the better teams, I believe, in the their conference. So it is nice to see their Form 1. They made a few roster changes, and overall it looks specifically like their ADC, Nicktoons, is actually doing really well. Like he's picking a lot of aggressive carry type champions that seem to be vibing well, and the team can kind of, back him up on that. But it is kind of a question of like how do they adapt to the meta, because at any point the meta can change, and it can very well go in the opposite direction. So I think really my biggest question is how can they adapt to change if the meta eventually does change, because we are kind of getting into the time of worlds and the world's meta, and that's always a big shakeup. So
Gotcha. Yeah, like last week, we were able to get a glimpse of them. They had very good early game. For game one and two, game three was a little bit more even, but still they had awesome. Like early game was really good. Like they were getting like pretty much kills and leads on every single lane. The biggest issue that we saw from last week was that they like getting to the mid game. There were a couple flops. They were no dropping
mhm,
kills, dropping objectives, not fighting super well, and that gave the opponent team a way to come back into the game and try to steal that win back. But yeah, overall, I liked what Shadow did. Specifically, I liked Catzilla. I think he was pretty solid in that series, and I'm glad to see that looks like he did a good performance. You know, 12.6k gold lead, had a good KDA, good CS for a jungler. Let me see if I can bring the game time here. For a 30-minute game, 200 CS is actually pretty solid. I would say for a jungler. Um,
mhm.
I usually look at mid lane when I do all my scouting for no biased reasons. But I favored Levy in this matchup just because his champion pool, he's got the Akshan, I hate that champion mid lane. It's I see they banned it. Yeah, they must hate it too, so they banned it. Um, but also Kaisa mid. I think I saw Outrage playing it last week too. With the Duskblade, the AP Kaisa mid. That's pretty cancerous. So I find it hard to deal with those picks, and um, so that's why I just feel like if they try to ban Levy out, which I guess they did, he still has like Cassio. Cassio is really really strong.
Yeah.
Um, I I question the Poppy pick this game. I maybe for Vi, but then again, it's lane Poppy, right? You're up against Fiora. I guess that's good for her Q, but I don't think Fiora cares about that.
I
Her Q is
mean,
such a short cooldown. I don't know.
the Poppy is good here because you can clearly see that Dark Matter they they want, I'm sorry, not Dark Matter, Team Shadowfrost Dominion, like they want to draft like full engage. Like I think their comp is really good here. Like this is good drafting. They have, a good ability to play on sides. You have someone like Fiora who,
Hmm.
can build something like Sunder or Triforce, however you want. This is probably, yeah, so she built, what did she build this game? So she built Sunder this game and had the Ravenous Hydra. So it makes dealing with her on sides really difficult because if you look at the comp that the enemy team has, there's like nobody that can really deal with her. Like you can send Poppy, but then you have no one to really disengage the fight, right? Because a lot of the strength of everyone but Poppy is their ability to go. And you have the Spirit Rush, you have Rel as a champion, and then you have, Zaya who's able to kind of follow up on engages, but also dodge engages. So it makes it really tough from like a at least a comp standpoint to really deal with this Fiora. And CC30 was actually on this team last split, and he was definitely like my highlight player for the team. And it seems like he has a team that really meshes with him. And yeah, I mean this draft overall, like just from game one alone, is absolute Exodia. I
Yeah,
think.
I see like from Shadowfrost, they have the perfect disengage comp. It's just like, okay, you have if Warwick goes in, Cass R, or Tristana, Mumu, Vi R's, whoever jives. Like if yeah, it's just so many. There's just so many tools at your disposal. It's disgusting. And
Hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
you're not gonna catch Trist ever. So
No.
wait, actually, question: can Trist ult the Warwick ult?
Uh, During the cast, I don't think
Like
so.
if Warwick's ulting to Trist, right? Can she R while he's in air?
I think
In the
with
No.
air?
any hair, maybe, but if he gets on her, then I would say no. But yeah, that's a
No,
good
I,
Okay.
question. I'm not
I
sure.
don't. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing, and I feel like this is kind of a good. I feel like this is probably a good way to like kind of enter into the like meta versus preference discussion, because you have a team who's drafting really crazy meta, like I said, Exodia comp, and ended up winning the game. But then you have champions, like the Warwick, and Warwick really just feels like out of place here. Like what Warwick's whole shtick is that you three camp clear. You're really good at taking objectives early on because you're passive. You're really good at ganking because you're W. And you look at the champions that he has to try and quote unquote gank, and how the fuck, forgive my language, is he supposed to get to anybody in this comp?
I don't know. The only for me, my perspective, the only gankable lane is mid against this team.
But even then, unless Levy gets charmed, there's like nothing to be done because Warwick needs to be facing the champion in order to, run at them. And that's what Cass wants so that she can get the petrifying gaze off.
I
And if she
mean,
gets the
Also,
petrifying gaze off, then Warwick is probably screwed and dead because you don't really have any mobility. You have your R, but there's probably a miasma beneath your feet.
I would
I mean,
imagine
also we're
that they can still play for bot because they have a rel. So,
true.
and they have a Mumu on the other side. So, a Mumu is also one of those champions that just goes in, he doesn't go out. And so if you can force them to trade when you're bathing when you're there, um, then you can then there's definitely a lane where you can play. If Tristana plays well, pre six, she still has jump and flash. If it's after six, she can just ult railway or something. But that's your best option. Unless, since you're playing Zaya bot, you can just rotate the rail, have the rail make plays into Cassiopeia, and even possibly into topside, because if a Mumu goes into Zaya, Zaya does have, Flash R, theoretically, right? Flash R, and then she can pull up the feather, so it should be a bit easier to deal with a two-man dive, a 2v1. But
Hmm.
that would be my only thoughts about that.
Yeah.
I gotta roast SJ Jack real quick. Jack, if you're watching the stream, I gotta tell you, man, don't listen to the voices. That is not the good book. It is bait. It is the bad book. Do not buy the book. I did it earlier, and I ran it down as soon as I bought the book. Uh,
Yeah, just a one final comment for this game. Yeah, like you said, it's rough for Warwick. He was 2 levels below Vi, 40 CS down. Not much what
Hmm.
he can do, especially if he's just started, you know, from behind. Um,
Yeah.
but overall, remembering that SG is one of the IBS teams or old IBS teams, and when Saul was here last week, he did say they made some changes. I believe it was on the jungle to elevate their play with not an IBS player. So I really
Yeah.
wish we could see the matches here so we can compare to last week to see, okay, how much improvement there was with a new jungler come in, and especially because
Hmm.
Warwick is not a champion that you normally see, right? It's not like a comp champion. It's more like a solo queue kind of champion.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
just don't see how Warwick makes an impact this game. I mean,
yeah.
other than like after level 6, like sure as level 6 spike, this game is probably pretty strong. Just given like you have to wait for Cassio to get 2 items, but like I don't know, like after like contesting the second Herald and stuff, it's just the enemy team once they get their 2 items, they're going to be a lot stronger than your Warwick just feels like a cannon minion at that point.
Yeah. And I don't usually like to do this because I do this all the time and I try to avoid it. But final captains, even the build on Warwick feels off because yes, Blade of the Ruined King is a good first start item, and yes, Jock Shows is a good mythic, but this feels more like a solo queue build than a competitive build because on one hand, you want to do your stuff early game because that's really when Warwick is at his most impactful, but just looking at your comp, you should probably assume that this game is going to go late. And if it ends early, it's not going to probably be because your team won. It's going to be because they have a Tristana and a Fiora and they destroyed your towers in 2 seconds. So you kind of have to realize that as Warwick, you're going to have to suffer into the late game. And so I would probably just begin building tanky, right? They have Tristana and they have Vi and they have Fiora. So you could go maybe something like a Randuin's if you really wanted to, or you could go something that involved the Warden's Mail. Because really your team doesn't need you to do damage. And even if you could get the damage off in the late game, you're probably going to kamikaze into there. Like if you do end up killing someone, you're probably going to die right after because you have no shielding of any kind, and the only thing that you really get is engage from the rest of your team. So you're not going to get any buffs or enchantments that could possibly keep you alive. You're relying solely on your passive. But when you have someone who probably built Chemtech Chainsword either first or second, you can't really expect that to be the case. And Levi even has Leandry, so you have to deal with the burn as well. So I don't while this is a good build on Warwick in solo queue, I can't help but call it not great in this type of game for competitive.
For sure. I'm gonna bring here so it transitions to the game two,
All right.
and we see almost, well, not really almost, but we see a Mumu Vi again on the side of uh DSF, and there's a complete change on the side of SG meta. They went with Braun Ash, Oriana, Camille and Viego, sorry, in the jungle.
Yeah,
Very, very
I
good
like
pick.
Brahmash a lot. I like that lane.
me
That's the
too.
the
Yeah.
Philidor lane. Oh, so
Um,
good.
honestly, so looking at um looking at Team Shadowfrost Dominion's comp, this is a good comp. Like I like this a lot. I think that um I think that Mordekaiser sticks out just a little bit. I feel like if CC3 could play like a Gwen, this might be better. While I do like Mordekaiser, he really only to me Mordekaiser is the stereotypical we need AP on our team, so let's just draft Mordekaiser for our top laner because he's simple, easy, and effective with the Death Realm, right?
Yeah, but they didn't need AP. Was he? You think
Yeah,
he
they have Victor.
is more to
Yes.
counterpick to Camille? Is that why you picked it? You think?
Yeah,
Mord,
so I'm looking at
yeah,
the
a
draft
little bit.
links, and Mordekaiser was R5.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
he was? Okay.
Yeah. So Mortar was just the counter pick for the Camille.
Okay.
That
Okay,
makes
then
more
that
sense.
that makes a little bit more sense. But I can't help but also think that Jarvan would have been amazing in this comp.
I
Like
don't like. I don't know about you, but I do not like Vi anymore. Wax.
I
Like.
well so it's funny. So I used to be a former Vi main, and now I've probably turned into the biggest Vi hater of all time. I think that she's not very good. I totally agree with you.
Well, she's got the same problem that Warwick has. You're a suicide bomber.
Yeah, and in
Whoa,
the
You go in and
and
you die.
whoa, whoa.
And the only reason you pick Vi is so the reason you pick Vi, right, is because you want to lock down the enemy AD carry. And this is good against champions like Zeri or maybe even like Zaya champions who are elusive AD carries and they're not going to be able to dodge your assault and battery. And as soon as that lands, your whole team just dogpiles onto them. They have a good amount of damage. They have the curse of the sad bullet time. Like this is an infamous bot lane combo. Everyone hates it. But against a champion like Ashe who doesn't have mobility, a Jarvan here would straight up murk the whole bot side because they're immobile. They can't get out of the cataclysm without flashing. And you have your bot lane who can just combo with that and you win the team fight in 2 seconds. And if anyone survives or anyone's pesky, you have Death Realm, right?
Yeah.
So like
I agree. I think J4 is a better pick here. Also, um, luckily the enemy team doesn't play J4 because J4 Oriana, you know,
yes,
uh,
exactly.
they got lucky there. Also,
Hmm.
I'm not the biggest fan of Tyr and Oriana. I feel like it just delays her her item spike
I
personally.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Um,
it's not bad considering that
no.
they have so much engage, so she can actually survive. She gets low. But yeah, she's definitely playing scaling. She's not gonna be like doing so much damage super early. But one of the things that I'm interested to see is how well does this combo works between Mumu and Vi, because I guess I agree with Wax. You know, the nerfs on Vi was pretty heavy. You know, extending her ult
Hmm.
because her only value actually is the ult, locking someone in a place. I guess works really well for math because you can literally just delete someone for so long, like Vi's ult, a Mumu's follow up Q and ults if needed. Um, but I wonder. I don't know. I guess it's a good way in general, but I feel like maybe from the side of SG, I wouldn't. I would have gone with the Viego. I probably would have picked something else. Um,
Hmm.
to
Also,
face
I
them.
think Vi is just like illegal here against. They have a Braum Ash.
Yeah.
Like it's so illegal. The second you go on, you're double stunned. Like you're dead.
Hmm.
So his
Um.
only option is to go on the Ash, right? You have to R the Ash every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, we can
Um.
see here that Ash did okay. She had like 14k
Yeah, she did
gold,
really good.
269 CS. It was a almost a 36-minute game, so they were able to fight more, I believe. They were able to stall the game a bit more.
I mean, it looks like Ashe was the strongest player in this game for until like the end of the game, basically, because
Yeah.
For
I'm assuming
sure.
they got all their gold from like the last couple objectives. Like
Hmm.
14.8, 14.6. She's 14.2. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering if she got like a good triple kill or something
Yeah.
to kind of propel her
They did have,
off
if we see the objectives, they got one barrel and two uh, drakes as
dragons.
well. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, they got the only barrel of the game, so
Yeah,
that's
this looks
Hmm.
like it
interesting.
come from. Can you go? I actually can't really go to the overview here,
No, no, because
but
this is the match results from
screenshot. Yeah,
the screenshot.
so I'm,
Hmm.
I'm curious to see the gold graph on this. Like, I wonder if Shadow Frost was behind.
I feel like this comp though that Shadowfrost drafted for themselves, like it's hard to lose on a comp like this, right? Because you have like your laning is relatively strong in some parts. Mordekaiser's laning phase is good, and then Misfortune, Amumu, I would argue is good at like all points in the game, right? Like it's just a well-rounded bot lane, and then that makes up, and you can make up for that with someone like Victor who has a really strong late game and just completely one shots essentially everybody on the enemy team later on, and like we can see that like 7-2 and 8 281 CS 14,000 gold generated. Like if I could see the damage graphs, I would be willing to bet that Victor probably did the second most damage or first most damage behind Misfortune, right?
Yeah,
So it
I
is a
agree.
really good comp, and it's hard to lose on just a front to back comp that's super easy to execute. Has champions that have very clear like win conditions, whether it's in lane or in mid game or in late game, and yeah, it's hard to mess this up. Like it's a super good comp, super easy, and like this is the kind of comp I feel like you would see in a gold league.
Yeah, and the only downside that I have for this team for SG for this particular match is their adaptation. It's so they took blue side for both games. The only change they made on their bans was the Kaisa ban 3 for Fiora after the first game. Everything else
Hmm.
remained exactly the same. So uh, there was pretty much no adaptation between Vi and Amumu. Technically, they did Tristana in the first game and not MF, but I guess there's a similar idea.
Hmm.
But yeah, they didn't, maybe we should take the Mumwa, maybe we should try to, put bot lane on something more comfortable or get like an advantage matchup. Um, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But
Yeah, and
yeah, go.
I also think, well, so we've been talking, I feel like, a lot about the winning comp. Like, I think that the biggest issue I take with the enemy team comp is like, what exactly is Oriana supposed to do in this game, right? Like, so the idea of Oriana is you want to pair her with someone who has really good engage, so you can get a crazy, Baker the Shockwave will find them all, crazy Shockwave 5-man, insta ace, into Baron, into win, GGWP. Um, but like, while Camille does have that ability with something like her ultimate, that is not even remotely the best option here. I feel like Oriana was solely comfort pick, and this feels like a matchup that Oriana eventually loses because Victor just eventually outscales her. Like if you wanted to pick a mid laner here, you probably should pick someone who has like a lot of agency in the lane, can roam and pressure into bot lane because like you said, sociopath Saul and Jake Verde, like on the Ash Braum, were doing really well. Like 8-3 and 4 as a losing team, and you're only 600 gold behind at the end of the game. Like clearly you had a win con in the bot lane, and it just doesn't feel like they drafted a comp that could play for it, which is just the biggest issue I take with their comp because it's clear what you want, but they just didn't play for it.
This is definitely the Malzahar angle. The Mal's out.
Yeah, that could be good.
Yeah, I mean the only way I would see is Viego being that bridge for Oriana's Shockwave, but even that, like playing Oriana, she was a fourth pick by the way. Playing Oriana
Mm,
into Vi, I don't like personally because she has no real escape. So after
no.
6, if you don't have flash, then you're just like dead meat in the mid lane, you know.
Well, like
Mm-hmm.
So
you say you get on top of Oriana, like she's not scary. Like, yeah, okay, she might shock, but a level 6 shockwave isn't that scary with a boss
No,
chapter.
yeah, no.
So it's like
Um,
it's not threatening. Like they will dive you because you're not gonna kill them unless they're like already low.
and you can combo the CC. You can do Vi ult into Q into Victor's gravity shield. She's not gonna
mhm.
move
Well,
for like a whole 3 seconds probably.
and she had a tier, so maybe she didn't have boss chapter at level 6.
She
She had
also had
tier components.
Rabadon's death cap third item, which I'm just now noticing. Uh, why?
It's just
I mean, there's
yeah.
not much MR on either team. Like there's one pair of Merc treads.
No, you're right. There isn't, but Rabadon's death cap is hella expensive, and
True.
when you're playing against a like clearly once you're at third item, you probably realize at some point that this game you're either on the like when she started building Rabadon's death cap, you probably realized okay, this game is either lost or it's in a neutral state. And Rabadon's death cap is not going to fix your issue, right? It's more of a long con or like last item that just gives you that extra little oomph to your combo. But like Rabadon's is just so expensive, it really delays any kind of I feel item that could really, patch the band-aid that your team is probably going to suffer through at the moment because when she built this, they were probably down gold.
I think if she had Hourglass,
Yes,
maybe like Vi ult
absolutely.
Hourglass and then just kill the Vi afterwards after you come out, or hopefully the team kills the Vi by the time your Hourglass is over. They turn around and kill the rest of the team. Instead, here looks
And that
like
would have
Vi probably
And
yeah.
that would have set Viego up perfectly because Viego is not a champion that engages. He kind of functions in the same light as something like a Master Yi or a Bel'Veth. He waits until everyone burns their stuff, and then he goes in with his Heartbreaker, gets reset after reset after reset. And because everyone is down on their cooldowns, all of a sudden, this guy is killing everybody with executes, and you can't do anything. So I feel like if you bait Vi out with something like a Zhonya's, then you just kill her because she's alone and Viego has that ability and you're someone now you have Visol, which has the Q that you can just continue to steal and mobilize with.
Yeah, for sure. So this now we have TSF with 2-0, and SG Darmatter started with 0-2 in the first 2 weeks. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bring us to the clips from Going Boosters and Conduit Esports Kraken. This was a very nice and entertaining match. So give me a few minutes. I'm gonna bring to the other stream and bring the clips.
Okay.
So let's switch, and I need to switch this because this is the wrong clip. This is from last week. I do update on live. Okay, sweet.
Yep. Okay.
So
I see it. So, oh,
We lost
it
it.
disappeared. Yeah. Okay. Here we go again. Okay. So, okay.
Commercial. Fuck.
oh,
No. So
I'll restart. I'll restart. Let me see what.
That's 80-second commercial. It's gonna be a minute. I can see the little screen.
yeah, me too.
I'll wait. We'll
Here,
wait. We'll wait the commercial and we'll start over.
I'll
It's completely fine.
I'll refresh. I think that worked for me. So just looking at this comp, wait, so who's on blue and who's on red again?
So blue side is going boosters and red side is conduit.
Got it. Okay, so I like the Nico and the Aatrox. These are two champions that are just unbelievably broken right now, right? Like because Aatrox just got buffed for basically zero reason, just putting that out there. Like I feel like he's good in like almost every situation. Like he's good for 1v2s, he's good for 2v2s, he's good for team fighting, he's good for zoning. Like Aatrox can do your taxes for you if you really want him to. Basically, it's always a good time to pick Aatrox in my opinion right now.
I
Yeah,
think even after his nerf, he's still like gonna be one of the best top laners.
Hmm.
I'm
They're
really
just
also
nerfing it by
impressed
what,
with Crow.
10?
I feel like Merciful Crow had such a good game here, and 5-1-3 on Nico, multiple plays with her passive. Very impressed. I think this game was show how strong Kraken can be. Um, there are a couple minus errors here and there, but overall, pretty strong match from them.
I've
Yeah.
had the pleasure of scrimming Kraken a few times, and yeah, they're a really really good team. I think Crow is one of the better mid laners in this league personally. He's got a very
Yeah.
similar playstyle that I have, burst mages, but yeah, they're a scary team. Also, their bot lane is really really good.
Yeah, someone that also has been playing pretty well is the Trash Panda. He's been putting up very good performances so far, and looking good for what could be a question mark since I believe he's not a top main. So
No, he isn't. I think Trash Panda played a different role last split. Yeah, I mean, so I do like that they went for kind of the wombo here. You have the Yasuo Diana infamous combo, right? But I can't help but really question this Ziggs pick
yeah, I was gonna
because
say that.
if you look at their comp, you have engage top, engage jungle, engage 80. I mean not engage. So you have engage top side, then you have an engage support, and then you just have Ziggs who just pokes. He doesn't go in. He doesn't want to go in. Basically, everyone wants to go in, and they go in, but they leave their ADC completely exposed. If you do that in this meta, you're asking to lose, I feel. So the Ziggs was a really questionable pick, I feel.
I think he
And
could have picked Ezreal here and it would have been really good there. That in game
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
yeah, like that serves as a dual function and it works.
I think my biggest concern is they don't need the extra AP damage because Diana does so much. Even if she builds tank, she does so much damage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they can go with like a conventional
Oh, that was
Ooh,
mid
that was
AD carry.
oh my god.
that was dirty.
That was so lucky that he just did insta
Yeah.
dive for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm also gonna I'm gonna kind of rip on AGL in general here with this comment, but like it feels like nobody in AGL knows how to play Maokai. Like it's a good champion if you know how to play it properly, but it's not one of those champions that you can like pick up in first time and be like, yeah, this champion's piss easy. Because while the mechanics of Maokai are very easy, sapling and brushes that are vital for an objective, or sapling and brushes the jungler might cross so you can get some damage off and some first strike gold, depending on if you take that. Um, stuff like that. Positioning as Maokai is incredibly important, and I feel like look at Haglight there. He went in and queued and flashed away, and while the engage ended up working, if he didn't have flash there, or if any of them had like lockdown, he would have been completely screwed, right? So, and like we can see here, he comes in late and is now forced to use his ultimate, one of the best in the game, by the way, to just run away. And now Oprah Winfrey is going to chop him up. And again, I guess, I don't know. How many replays are there of this guy getting caught out? Holy shit.
I think it's a Maokai thing, by the way. I was getting caught. Definitely a Maokai thing. Oh my
I
god.
mean,
Oh man, this game too is brutal.
this game too is something completely different.
Honestly, uh MVPs this game are definitely top side of freaking Oprah Winfrey and uh
Yeah.
Witcher
Yeah,
Black Mask.
Witcher Blackman
That
had a really good game too. I think in general he had a good series. Um,
This
Yeah, like I have.
Trash Panda's not having a good time right now.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say that.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Okay, big. Yeah, this is good. Like that was a really good ult from Trash Panda to get Oprah out of here. But now,
Oh, what it was,
oh
Kara?
wait, no,
What are
what
you
is
doing? What are you
Oprah?
doing? I don't know how to
Oprah, what are
say
you
his name.
doing?
I think Kreutz also had like a good game overall on the Syndra, because Syndra Lux into Syndra, it's or Syndra into Lux. It's not necessarily an easy matchup early, so you have to play really careful with the E from Lux.
Hmm.
But once you deal with the laning phase, then things become so much easier. As long as you're
Mm-hmm.
even or ahead. And since she's ahead, she's just gonna do what Syndra does, carry the game as it goes to late game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is like a good. Yeah, I mean, this is really good. I feel from like I've always said this. Like, if you don't know how to play Maokai or like you don't know how to play any like engaged tank, Sejuani really is your go-to. It's very easy to play. It doesn't hinder on positioning as much as Maokai, and I honestly feel like in a decent amount of cases, especially in like lower elos, Sej is just honestly better. Has like a lot easier tools to lock down champions. Like with Maokai, you have to get like relatively close with your W, and sometimes your W is a little bit risky, right? Because you're putting yourself out there, and if you're not tanky enough, you'll just get bursted down and killed. But like Sejuani has the luxury of being able to throw her lockdown from like a relatively safe distance.
Yeah,
And if she misses her ultimate, it's a big area of denial as well. So like, it's not even like
Yeah.
I've actually when I've played Sedge a couple times, and I will like sometimes not hit my ult on purpose just to slow people. Just like
It's zoning, guys. That's what you
well,
want us to
because
think.
the ult itself doesn't do damage. It's the zoning, it's the area effect that does the damage for her.
plus, if you combine her passive into Aftershock, is just so
Oh,
powerful for
Mhm.
survival.
Plus, her team can proc it, right? So like, if your team is good but you're shit, then there you go. You just have to click E when your team auto attacks enough. So like, see here, like she locked them down from South America while she's standing in Antarctica, and all of a sudden the two champions are dead because not only did you lock her down, but you got the AoE slow. So
you said
like,
this was a 2-0, right?
this is a 2-1
A 2-1.
somehow.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's one. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
Also, this Lux skin, I love it.
True. Yeah.
I got the
Uh,
event chroma for it. It's so good.
But like, yeah. I mean, yes. Hi. Mm. I mean, it seems like in this game they're ridiculously split. Like Haglite was standing at the blue, and Kiora, I think that's how you pronounce it, was like at the chickens. And you're like, how did we get here exactly? Because like the positioning I feel was kind of what lost them the game. Like just from these clips alone, you can tell that a lot of people got caught and it ended up being really bad. So yeah. Clean game though.
Oh, the Mundo.
Oof. Oh, I love the Rumble. Honestly, I love Rumble, like as a champion. Like I think he's so much fun to watch. Alright, so Trash Panda probably just trades 1 for 1 here. Yeah.
That's
So
worth. It's fun.
yeah, that's fine. Okay. Okay, Haglite. Yeah, okay. So so they got the dragon, but now they're just I'm assuming they're just completely wiped here because yeah, I mean, Merciful Crow probably dies here, or maybe not.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jing. Oh my
oh,
God.
come on. Okay, there we go. On the clip.
Holy.
Yeah. Okay. So Mr. TP is dead here. Oh my. Okay, I didn't see it.
I don't
Mm.
really like the Rise pick here.
No, neither do I. I was about to say the same thing. Like Rise to me, so I can see what they're kind of going for here, right? Like they're going for like they're going for their mid ADC to try and be like very scaly. Holy from downtown. Um and that's good, but I feel like Rise is not worth it. He feels like a champion that takes way too long to get ahead, but then when he finally does get ahead, it's not nearly enough. In some cases, yeah, you can win, but like he gets poked to hell and back here with, you know, things like Kaisa and Seraphine. So it just feels like the champion is not worth the amount of investment that he takes to be ahead, and it's not even enough. So I probably would have picked something, you know, maybe someone like a Vex would have been good here. If Kaisa decides, hey, I'm gonna go in, Vex just immediately deletes her.
You're talking about the rise.
Yes,
Yeah, we
where
don't like the Rise pick very
we do
much.
not like the rise
I
pick.
was gonna say I'm actually I actually like the rise. From my side, because I do play rise a little bit, especially when it comes to comp. And the main reason why I would say that is I agree, like the value that rise brings is completely different from your standard control mages. I definitely wouldn't pair him with Mundo,
Oh my.
even with Mundo being good into like almost full AP comp from the side of Conduit here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Rise gives you ability to survive. He gives you DPS. You know, he has a lot of, he can tank a lot of damage with his just natural
Yeah.
build. And
Yeah, but the
if you need, you can also play you can play 4-1 here. You know, split
yeah,
the
but look,
team.
we're 18 minutes into this game. He's still not online yet. I mean, yeah, he's got like he's the only reason he's even got his Seraphs or his
Yeah.
Archangel or whatever is because he's got 3 kills randomly. Like
Yeah.
it takes him over 20 minutes to get online if he's not ahead, and
But like
that's kind of a little bit
and
too long.
this is kind of a good scenario for Rice because the comp that he's playing into is very immobile. Nobody has any form of cleanse or, you know, being able to escape the rune prison. So like if someone gets rune prisoned, they're probably dead, right? Like there's probably nothing they can do. They can maybe fight back, but they're currently winning, so what are you going to do there, right? So
The
like
other
look at this.
thing,
They cannot kill them because there's also just no
I mean,
damage
there
on
was
this
no,
comp.
yeah, I
Feels
mean,
like.
Jinx wasn't there. The other thing that I
Yeah.
was gonna add is I only saw one good ult, one or two good ults from Rise, in the sense of trying to find a better positioning. I feel like one of the things that you can definitely try to abuse of Rise into the early game, even though he's not strong,
There's
his,
no way he steals this. Okay.
his wave push is really good. Even if he's weak, he just pushes a wave. And two, you can actually do good roams
Ooh.
just to get those numbers up. So I think he can definitely add some value as long as you can execute properly, right? But yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's more difficult mid
He
laner to
like
apply for sure.
if you can pull him off, then great. But like half the
Yeah,
time, I feel like
it's
people
not easy. By all means,
don't know
not
what they're
easy.
doing.
Yeah,
Right? Like it seems like this guy knows what he's doing, and so like power to him. But he also has a really good comp. Like the lockdown from mid jungle is insane. And if Jinx pair this with Jinx, and you actually have like a really good, I feel like mid to late game comp because you have lockdown from jungle mid, and then Jinx is able to use that to just get reset after reset after reset after reset, and just go through the entire team. And like after 3 items, the game is pretty insane. But looks like
yeah,
they're losing anyway, so here we are.
I think Boost is just kind of trolled there. I don't know if you saw that. He just stood in
Yeah, I,
the
I did.
yeah. I was gonna say that for me, Jinx is probably one of the best picks from Boostus. At
Hmm.
least is the one that I've seen him performing better most often.
Okay, why doesn't Busus have cleanse this game? You're against a Rel, you're against a Seraphine, you're against a Mumu. These are all champions that can lock you down. And while you do have a good amount of like shielding, if you get picked, you're straight up dead, right?
Well,
Um,
that is a very good question for going Ghost to answer.
Yeah,
Well, good job, Conduit, for 2-1ing here on a
yeah, this
fully
was
approved team.
yeah, this was good. I don't know how they won this game, considering I would take blue side draft any like day of the week.
I mean,
You know,
they had a 11 for Rumble too, so
yeah. I mean, Rumble. Okay, Rumble is like one of the like champions I've mental block against, so I'm a little biased. But this champion, level like 2, can just 100 to 0 you if they manage their heat correctly. It's crazy how much damage this champ does. It's
Yeah,
like
flames
what
overheated flame spitter is by far the
wild.
strongest
Like
thing level. It's like stronger than Talon, I feel like. Level 2.
yeah, especially into tanks. Like they had like Mundo, Sejuani. Those are good champions for you to burn them.
yeah. Um, but yeah, overall it was kind of it felt like more of a sloppy win. Like the games weren't very clean. I feel like both teams, like just from these replays alone, threw a lot. But you know, a series win is a series win. So yeah, good job to Conduit Esports cracking here.
Yeah, they got their
Oh,
2-0.
Crow. I saw that flash. I saw it.
They are the second. They're tied right now with Shadow Frost Dominion, 4-1 game record and 2-0 match records. And on the side of Going Boost, they are still third place. They have a positive one game difference from last week's 2-0 versus 2-1 here.
Hmm.
And now I'm gonna bring us back so we can talk a little bit about the next match, the last match of this group, which is PF Dreadnoughts and Forsaken Deity. And I
Okay.
believe, to me, I my predictions were to I think PF Dreadnought to win. I don't remember, to be fair, but that's what I think. So I think I got an L there because I don't think I was expecting a win from the side of Forsaken. Not to demeanor them by any means.
Yeah. Okay, so 2-0, right? This is the correct one.
Yeah, so 2-0 for Forsaken. This is game one. 28 minutes game. Not bad. I guess it's on an average, but
That's quick.
we
Yeah.
can see Twitch notice going 818, 13k gold. None of the other team from the side of PF Dreadnoughts achieved even 10k gold in this game. So pretty
Well,
rough for them.
so I don't really like to bring this up because like it's internal stuff, but like PFD seem to be having a decent amount of like internal issues. Just like they've like made like a lot of roster changes, right? They had an E sub in this game, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that obviously, you want to get your team issues or whatever out of the way quicker than later because, the sooner you get like all of that, finalized and fixed, the sooner you can get to figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And I feel like this was just kind of a week where they didn't quite know what was going on because just looking at this game one draft, this is not great in my opinion. Like they are hindering heavily on getting into the late game, but if you look at the winning team's sort of comp, you're never first of all, you're never ever getting to this Caitlyn unless you somehow get death realmed. And secondly, none of your tanks are going to survive the insane barrage of damage coming out from um the Trundle R plus the backline burn damage of Morgana Victor. Like
Yeah.
your front line literally melts alive against this comp.
The other thing is I haven't. I think this was the first. Well, actually, I don't think I can say that. I don't know if it was the first, but considering of the games, on the order of the games that we're going to, is the first one that we see a Trundle being selected into Sejuani, because even a couple weeks ago, and even on scrims that I've seen in the past from teams, like I haven't really seen that option. Like when, because Sejuani is normally blindable champion,
Yes.
um, because she's safe. Because we're considering that the teams are not gonna pick Trundle because Trundle is not really in the meta right now. He's not like necessarily super strong. He's just there, but
He's pretty alright.
he's pretty good into the Sejuani that has all that armor, and he's just gonna say, "Hey, nope, you do not have that armor."
Mm-hmm.
So I just haven't seen people picking the Trundle into it, and I think it's like really good here because the same thing is gonna happen to Mordecai's. Mordecai is gonna steal somebody's defenses stats. Trundle is gonna steal is gonna remove those stats as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it yeah.
And I kind of want to point out, so I really don't know why this is, but Sejuani with the phase rush is random as shit because not only are you supposed to engage, like you are the engage with this comp. You and Nautilus are the ideal team fight starters. You're never ever gonna proc your phase rush on this team, and your whole job is to stick into the middle of the fight. You have something like Sunfire, which literally entails that you go into the team and just deal magic damage with the passive. But like
Yeah, that's what I'm
it,
thinking too, Tiggsy.
I mean, yes, so yeah, I see it too. So yes, it could help you not die to Trundle early, but it really just kind of depends on what the pillar is, right? Like, so if you Q when he doesn't have pillar, you'll die. But like, if that's not the case, you can Q through the pillar. Trundle has to go around it, and even if he chases you down still, like even if he chases you down still, you have the W to slow him. So it feels like you have enough tools to avoid the Trundle, and this is not taking into account when you have your ultimate.
Yeah. And if you miss, and obviously, if you miss everything, then you deserve to die, right? if you
Yes, like if you play it badly, you deserve to die
if
in
you
game,
miss
of
your
course.
yeah, if you miss your W, your Qs, then okay, you not really help yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, let me bring here real quick. Robbie, any other comment regarding this game one from your side?
I mean, I don't agree with the phase rush just because like you're trying to play for early. I mean, you're not trying to play for early game really. You want to be able to stick in the fight as long as possible, and
Mm-hmm.
aftershock it just synergizes so well with Sejuani. Yeah, Eternal will be removing your resistances, but if he's doing that, he's probably on you. It's better you than your backline.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all about tanks martyring themselves for their backline.
Alright,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring here game two. Is the actually is the second game that we see from Zeri, even though she and this is an AD Zeri, so that's the nerfed version of Zeri. But this is a 39-minute game, so more I would imagine this is a more even game. 20
Mm-hmm.
kills to 15. Interesting. We have a Kane jungle.
I like
Um,
this. I like this
Kane
a
jungle's
lot.
good. I think it's
Yes.
underrated.
Yes, hella. Like
Purple Kane, baby, purple Kane.
purple cane is absolute cancer to face, and it's really good in the right hand. Like I don't know if you guys kept up a lot with Worlds last year, but like Canyon's Kane performance to me, if you can pull like a fraction of that off, you can probably win any game because you can do so much like in terms of zoning with your E from objectives, and every fight in the early game that you lose, in some way you win because you get the orbs. So yeah, this is a really good Kane game, I feel, because because the enemy team wants to go into you, right? They have Nautilus Maokai. Now they have a decent amount of poke with their carries, but like you also have good backline access, right? With Azir being able to shuffle and the Malphite ult. So he has like a really good amount of setup for him to kind of become active in this game. And he only got 2 kills, but like a lot of pressure was applied. I mean, you can see the goal difference from
oh
the
yeah.
junglers, right? 15.5k to 11.5k. That's a 4k difference. That's quite a bit.
Let's talk about the go difference between the mid laners. Axor 13-2. The dude put a almost 70k gold lead or difference by the end of the game on this victor.
Whoa,
Um,
340 CS. Oh, 40-minute game.
exactly.
Okay, I was like a
Yeah,
40-minute
that's
game. Okay.
insane.
It's
Holy.
still like if you think on the other side, the Victor only had 270 and Zeri only 316. So
Yeah.
we can
I
see a
mean,
lot of work being put on the Azir here.
I mean, Azir is Exodia against this. Not only do you have the ability to push people out of your Lamb's Respite, right? Like, which just makes one of the best ultimates in the game completely useless, right? Because if you use it properly, they just all get pushed out. But it also entices the weakness of the enemy team, which is just immobility, right? Zuko is a Varus who will get caught out by the slightest thing, and if you're good at Azir, this Varus won't be able to exist. All right, so it
Not even
really
the
is an
Victor.
amazing
Yeah,
pick.
it's good into the Kindred, the Victor, the Varus.
Yep.
It's also good against against Engage. I think Azir here, as long as you can execute, it's a really good champion to have.
I agree.
So with that,
Also,
yep, go
eating
ahead.
kimchi is best name ever.
Which
Real
which one?
TD cream
Kimchi's.
cheese.
Oh,
Is that from the wasn't that from like the show that they had about League or whatever?
I
So
think
they have
so. Yeah.
a character called Cream Cheese. Yeah, something like that. That was funny. I didn't watch it. I need to watch that show, honestly.
all right. So now we're jumping to the Chemtech group,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna bring
Ooh,
here in a second. The first clips for the
blockchain.
group is Dynasty Ruby versus Team Ambition Exodia.
Oh
So
god. Oh god.
This one's
I
getting
already know.
closer.
Dynasty Ruby to me is probably the best team in the entire league. I think that they have like players that are basically at the top for all roles. Um so yeah, and they did really good when we streamed them week 1, even when they had like really shitty comps. So, yeah, let's take a look here.
So I have a weird question.
Yeah, what's up?
Everybody knows CZI loves Set, so why does he keep getting it?
I don't know. I think Set is
You know what I mean? It's like,
okay, what is Ares doing here? So,
although Renekton's a really hard counter to Set, but I don't.
okay, so CZ dies here, but I feel like CZ did not play that very well. Okay, Super Gremlin.
Wait, why is he
Okay.
going backwards?
let me try to find the bans here for this match one.
Okay, wait. So he has collateral damage. Okay, nice.
Did he not have E up? I didn't see the
Yeah, I
record.
was
Tyson
wondering
does.
the same thing.
Okay, so they
Oh,
Oh
banned.
my god. You were saying best players in the league.
yeah, so okay. So my biggest issue with Dynasty Ruby is
oh,
that was good.
that was clean.
All of their players are really good mechanically, right? Like these are, like I said, these players are really good. But like these comps do not feel these feel like solo queue comps more than competitive comps, right? Because you have basically strong side everything, right? Like literally no one is weak side. Even the jungler. Super Gremlin wants to get gold. Set wants to get gold. Silas wants to get gold. Tristana wants to get gold. Nautilus is a support, so who cares? Um, and so it feels like they are playing comps just because they're I don't say this like kind of lightly, but it just feels like they're better than everyone else that they can get away with shit like this. But like these comps are
No.
weird
I mean, it can
still.
also be a bit of
90-second commercial.
oh.
Mm.
Not for me.
It
Oh,
can
never
also
mind.
be like what's called comfort picks for. I mean, I don't
True.
know playing awards specifically, but it could be more comfort picks for them to play the more aggressive lane. Um, because even though if Set wants to have gold, right?
Yeah.
CZI probably feels comfortable on the set enough that he can just take the 1v1, go even, and still be relevant on the game. Or as we saw, he got the first blood
Mhm.
because looking at
Uh,
their bans, they've only banned Olaf and Shen on the second base from the side of TAE Exodia. So not many
mhm.
bans towards that top lane.
Yeah. And I feel like this is like a thing with most team ambition teams. Like I'm obviously a pretty big fan of team ambition, given that I've known and been with them for you could say quite a while. But it feels like most teams, I feel, from Team Ambition do pretty well, right? Like usually they'll end at least on the upper echelon of brackets, but it feels like some of these teams, their teams have struggles in the earlier parts of the season, right? Like I think we saw this from Infinite last split. Like Team Ambition Infinite was their AGL Gold team last split, and while they did good, I think they had some struggles in the early couple of weeks. They eventually managed to overcome these hurdles and get playoffs, but I think that this team, just from the org that they come from, has like a decent amount of growing room, because you can already see kind of the seeds planting here. They are facing one of the best teams, but like they have a decent handle on draft. I feel like I think their comps are good. But really it just comes down to execution, and I think that Dynasty Ruby is the best at that.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, this game has been
Don't
it's
do it to him. Oh my god.
this game is looking a bit more even compared to the pretty stomp that we had on game one. We actually
Yeah.
see a
Oh,
lot of back and forth. Samita has 3 kills.
Yeah.
He still even on CS, so pretty strong overall. So doing pretty good. What is it? Dark Wolf? Dark Wolf?
hmm
Dark.
oh,
And also, I don't know how many times I have to say this to people, but if you're going an assassin, like I'm a Kha'Zix main, so if you're going Kha'Zix in competitive, please, for the love of God, and I will not repeat myself, rush Umbral Glaive.
is he going Hex Drinker or Mercs? I guess Mercs. Has he got the Mercs? Okay.
Oh yeah, and I didn't want to say this, but it does feel like on this game too, TA's bot lane did a little bit of diff on
Oh,
Luxodon
Samara's dead
and
though.
play on wards. They
Damn,
won
this
multiple
Samara
2v2s.
is pretty clean.
Usually I'm a collector hater, but I actually think I think it's fine in this comp. They have 4 squishy champions. So like collector's not bad here, especially given that you're 7-1. Or now you were 7-0, now you're 7-1.
Oh,
Whoa, Ares, hello.
is that
Okay.
a cannon pick to counter my Tigsy cannon? Huh?
I don't know if
Are we
Tiggs
gonna see a
is.
contested cannon pick in playoffs?
I don't know if
I mean,
Tiggsy is. It's liking that the cannon that we're seeing here, because
I mean,
I know he's very critical of cannons.
doesn't Kennen shit on Poppy though? Pretty sure Kennen shits on like
Oh,
everybody.
that was nice from the TA mid laner. Did you see that? He
Wait, nah.
canceled the Xerath ultimate.
Wait.
Also, that's unfortunate.
That was really well played.
No way.
That was really well played.
Wait, Darterwolf?
Damn.
And those last 2 clips, they were shoot, I forgot. Someone from Dynasty sent over to me. Let me give the proper.
Okay,
Damn.
Darterwolf. Oh
Also,
my god.
I've been seeing these 40-minute games. I thought my games were long in my series that I've played.
I know, right? Yeah. So like right here, like this is the kind of fight I'm talking about. They were split at the beginning, but then they grouped up, and now this fight is looking really good for them, right? So like if they can clean up just those like hesitations, I think, then like I think this Team Ambition team can legitimately be like second place in their division for playoffs. Like
I,
even
I
though they're 0-4 right now,
I don't know
they have
about second place. I think they
Oh,
can.
they
I
just
can be.
trolled it. Oh,
I think they
that's
can be
tragic.
fourth place, maybe fight for third, but I don't know about second place.
no, bro, I believe.
I think second place is a bit too much. And
No, bro, I believe.
I
You gotta
mean,
know it.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
So I appreciate the Samara play there, but you're
Yeah,
50 minutes in. If you die, your game's over.
and the game is
So
over. Yeah, so but
And
like it just feels like Dynasty Ruby are playing so many ego comps, and they just get away with it. So I don't know. Maybe they'll be like exposed later on, because like because like again, this comp in game 1 is like beyond this comp should get you like straight up sent to prison. Like I do not think it's good, but they just know how the champions work, and there you go, right?
And just like I said, look at what Tiggsy said about Cannon. So Cannon can't poke Poppy as easy because Cannon has zero sustain, and then he goes crazy on why does Cannon have static heresy. So he going hard on another Cannon player.
Mm-hmm.
So let
This
me.
flash is depressing.
Yeah.
This was a good play by Reboot Fan.
Well,
Solo
so
kill.
I don't even know why you would flash there as Nautilus, because even though yeah he failed it, like there's no point in flashing there because
No.
you died you die anyway, right? Like even if he gets that flash off, he's just straight up dead. So
All right. So the next match, let me move here
Arcade.
the screen.
CB versus Worth.
Arcade.
Okay, CB Sapphire and Worth. Worth to me is one of those teams that is expected to be second place in the group. I
Mhm.
think it's going to be really hard to take them from that position probably. They face the IBS team CB Sapphire. Where is the link for their matches?
Holy shit! I'm looking at these post games. Holy crap!
All right. So I'm gonna bring on the screen here. This is not it, but this one is game 1.
Yep.
So
Okay.
Doey on Lissandra, Bruno on Cyan, Viego, Ash and Braum. We've seen a lot of Ash and Braum recently.
Mhm.
It's
On
a
the
good
other
bot lane.
side, yep. On the other side,
Which
we
actually,
got. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like Ash Braum is a really good pick into Kaisa.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Well, they did MF here in this case. Um, but yeah, they had MF and Tarek bot. They had Saint mid, Maokai and Malphite. Very interesting comp. This is a 39-minute game. This is actually a pretty long game, pretty even.
Did you
Um,
see in chat someone said they have a VOD for you?
well, I don't know if we're gonna be able to show the VOD because it's gonna take a while
Oh.
to clip it.
Mhm.
But
Okay, fair enough.
what I would recommend is Halux Gears is after your match, if you want, after your match on Friday, I will have the links for week 3. Then you're gonna have just download the replay files, drop your files on the folder for TSF, and I'll make sure during the weekend I do the clips. It's just because I haven't seen anyone posting until late on Sunday, so it's been a bit rough. But if you do, I would recommend doing Friday after match, just because it gives me time on the weekend to actually go through them and try not to rush a little bit. So that would be my recommendation, and then we're definitely gonna have those here, for everyone to see. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so this is a very close game. Um, 18k gold on MF, full
That's a
build,
lot.
and
Yeah.
17k gold on Viego. So the two carries popping off to me. But on the side of Worth, you also have more carries. You have a lot of gold on Doe with the Slisandra and a lot of gold on Cyan in that top lane. Not
Yeah.
building uh what's that? Hullbreaker,
Mhm.
as I would expect to see, I guess.
Um.
Not the
On
boss.
just looking at the comps here, it doesn't feel like there's per se anything wrong with Dynasty Ruby, not Dynasty Ruby, CB Sapphire's comp. Like their comp seems fine, right? Like it has a decent purpose, right? Like there's engage, there's frontline, there's carries, there's backline, there's survivability with something like the Tarek R. My biggest issue here is probably got to be that Tarek. So I mean, it's all relative, right? But like Tarek here, I think is kind of not enough. Like, obviously, if you are able to keep your MF alive, that's great. But like, there's a lot of burst and prolonged fighting ability from Worth's comp, right? Like they have the ice ghouls, as I like to call them, from Lysandra, and then they have something like Viego who can just fight forever. So it just feels like Misfortune here doesn't have enough to peel her if the enemy team actually does get into the back line.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. There's not a lot to say about this game. I feel
Yeah,
it feels like it just feels like it's an execution diff, right? Like if we were able to get the replays for this, like I would actually really like to see the replays for this game because I
yeah,
guarantee it was just people getting caught out at wrong times, objectives not being properly warded or properly zoned or whatever, and they just lost through, you know, miscommunication, being out macroed, maybe laning phase was not good. Because like all in all, if you showed me both these comps and you didn't tell me who would win, I probably wouldn't be able to guess because both these comps look fine, right?
yeah. I think like in terms of pick potential, like from the side of let's say before the last fight, from the side of what's the name, CB Sapphire, they have the potential to okay, let's lock down the Viega. We have a Mao fight to jump on his
Mm-hmm.
ass. We got the Maokai to go right after him. We got Syndra to ult him as well if needed. So focus him once he's dead, then you can still like pull off to fight the Sandra. And from the side of um, Worth, you also have the same idea. Like, hey, we got Lissandra. She's huge. Just ult on top of MF. We burst, get the first reset with Viego, following up. Tarek's ult's not gonna fall, you know, by the time she can be burst really quickly, especially when you have so many. You have a full build Lissandra and she has electrocute, so I'm pretty sure she can just burst these either Syndra or MF. But yeah, it does feel like it's you know, one pick that led into winning a team fight, winning a Baron or something, or even Elder for that matter. I see that Worf got two Barons, um, three Drakes, three Drakes from the side. Oh, actually, there was no Elder. Three Drakes from the side of CB Sapphire. So probably maybe a Baron play because two Barons is quite a lot actually. But yeah, I agree with you.
Well, if you get Baron on spawn, it's a lot easier to
True.
kill.
But yeah, it would depend also on how, because I don't think they do that fast. It would depend on how much items they would have at that time for either of these teams. They don't have like a killing Baron fast kind of comp.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let me bring game two real quick. Let's see
Game
how that
2.
one went.
Also, they're banning those Ari. Feels bad.
Okay, so this one a lot quicker, 29-minute game. And
Yeah.
we got three pop-offs, 46 kills to 18. Rough.
Yikes.
We got Doe again, 11 and 2 on that ASOL. Bruno, 15-5, and Frisky 12-3. Three carries, all three fed. It's hard, especially
Yeah.
even as a severe. It's hard. Um,
Yeah. Um. So, okay, I guess there is something I can actually say about this game. So, because last game was just like, again, like there wasn't much to say. Um, this game though, I'm really, 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 really not sure why Wukong did not go Black Cleaver here. You have an insanely fed Sivir, and they have one, two, three champions that hard stack armor, and Aurelian Soul, who later on in the game has Seraphs and is kind of difficult to kill, right? Like he has armor on him with Rylai's and Seraphs and stuff like that. Uh, it feels like you could have definitely gone Black Cleaver this game, and maybe the game would have been closer. But yeah, I mean, 0 and 0, 11 and 8. Maokai top lane against Darius.
This
Like
was just
this,
the lumberjack top lane. He's chopping trees down
yeah,
all game.
literally, I would love to see the draft order of this game, but like if Maokai was like the pick against Darius here, or they intended to flex it, like maybe
No,
put
there's
a
no
jungle in for top,
way.
like
Uh,
I'm
Well,
gonna look. I'm actually gonna look. I
I'm
think
you
I have a
I'm
thing
can't.
up here.
I'm gonna
There's
pull
no
here.
sane person picks Maokai into Darius, right? Like that's
Okay,
just
I'm looking. So okay,
that's just troll.
wait, no, hang on, that's
It's
the
like
wrong one.
Darius. Like if you want to give him like the best matchup ever, like that's it right there. Like
Okay,
Maokai wants to go on
so
you. He just does. Oh my god.
okay, no, so they actually okay, never mind. They're not completely wait, so they are not completely at blame here because
I'm gonna put up the
so
screen here so we can all see. I hope.
yeah, so Worth B5'd Darius after they showed the Maokai B's 4 and 5. So they gave top lane counter pick. Honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest here. You guys should have probably swapped if it was like optional. Like you could have sent Wukong top here, and it's not the best matchup for Darius, but it's sure as shit better than Maokai. And Maokai could have jungled, and Maokai is actually pretty good against Zac. He's able to stop him from potentially going in with his Q. Like he can cancel his E. And anyone who can displace Zac from running away or maybe stop the engage before it happens is really good, right? Um,
Stop Zach
like
from
that.
Zacking. Sounds great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I personally hate Zac, so like
Champion is OP.
I can't stand that Elo inflated blob piece of shit. So like no, don't even get me started on that guy.
And then when
So
they do their little, they eat over the dragon pit and steal the dragon. It's like cry.
if that ever happened to me, you would never catch me playing it ever again. But yeah, I mean, this feels like a good opportunity to put Wukong top and Maokai jungle, just because I feel like the matchups are more advantageous. Because here's what happens
Doable.
with here's what happens with Darius versus Maokai. Maokai walks up to get a CS. Darius ghosts W, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack, dead. GGWP.
You could even, I would argue, you could even do something even more creative and say, you know what, Maokai jungle, Nico top, Wukong mid,
That could
Wukong
work.
Wukong
Wukong mid
slap,
have been good here.
yeah, you slap that ASO as hard as you can. With especially with a Maokai, you don't let him
hmm
scale. You kill him 200 times.
Well, in
Hey,
addition to that, like once they hit 6, Wukong can easily dodge the Sky's Descender, the Starfall, or whatever
And he can
with
interrupt
his
the
clone,
fly. He also
and he
interrupts
can
the
interrupt
fly
the fly.
very
Yeah,
easily.
which is super useful, especially because you have a decent amount. You actually, a CB Sapphire's team, they clearly have like a gimmick that their team kind of goes for. They have a lot of lockdown, right? They have Cyclone, they have Rel, they have Maokai, they have the Nico E and the R. Like there is a lot of CC from members of CB Sapphire, and I feel like if you just mix and match to the laning slightly
Yep.
better, this team could have probably because the Sivir was also super fed. So like if you put the champions that we suggested in those lanes and then the Sivir was also super fed, this would have gone to 3 games, right? Because with the exception
Very
of
possible. Very possible.
very possible, yes. Like this very easily could have gone to 3 games because Darius doesn't get fed, and so as a result, and Darius, if he doesn't get fed in laning phase, he's useless against this team because he just gets bursted down by Wukong and completely kited away,
Yeah.
right?
So like solo queues, he would never get a solo queue out of a Nico unless and the only way he would have get like kills or anything or any sort of advantage would be if Zac permanently goes top to punish Nico for whatever reason.
Yeah,
But on the 1v1, you should be fine, even if he has ghosts, especially level 6. Level 6 shouldn't be able to die because you have a knock-up that can turn into an easy root. And if
hmm
needed, you also have your short invisibility. There's a lot of things that you can try to do to deceive your opponents because I see this comp here with Maokai, Wukong, and Nico are very good in deceiving your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing saplings, invisibility from Wukong, passive from Nico, invisibility from Nico, like turn yourself into Wukong, go fight with two Wukongs. Who is who? You know,
Exactly.
you just walk. You literally can just walk forward with both Wukongs, so you don't have to use Wukong's W until like you're right there to pull the trigger. So I think they had really good creativity with the comp. It would be even better if they would, make the slight adjustments on the fly, just to see how well they would be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're here, CB Sapphire, take this advice, try to implement, try to practice, try to flex it. It's gonna become your asset, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna be able to do much better. And not saying you guys did bad here. Obviously, they got fed, but still, it's a 29-minute game. It's not, a 20-minute game. It's not like
Yeah.
a complete stomp where they just finish the game so fast. You still had a way back with Sivir and everything. So Versus said they had two e-subs, which is fair. And it's just it would
Is
still
that
be
4
interesting.
bands gone?
Oh, no, it's I think they had 5 bands.
Okay, I
Five
guess
bans.
they. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just a little bit more flexibility here, and I think you could have maybe put this to 3 games. But yeah, I mean, game 1, I really would have liked to see the replays. Game 2, I have a feeling I know what happened.
But yeah, so after okay, so I don't have the clips for the next one. I actually forgot to record. I just went over for our internal review, but for at least one game, because the next game is Being Chillers versus Eclipse Tide Solar. I do have a couple things that I can share and can say. Not much for the first game because I didn't went through.
I'm surprised about this series, to be honest with you.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
I was
I've scrimmed both these teams, and I was very surprised.
I was what's called. And here's the thing. I was doing the ET New Moon cast on a Friday, and we also screamed Big Chillers couple weeks before AGs. They did make some changes.
Yeah,
And we also didn't have our full roster on Friday. We had one change on the jungle. Not saying that was the reason, obviously not, but definitely caught me off guard. Good for being chillers. They got a win. I think it's a very important win for them because I think these teams are close level at least. But
Mhm.
here, again, it's a 37-minute game. Wait, I am not sure.
Okay, so just making observations from game 1. This probably was just due to execution because looking at the the losing team's comp, this looks like a comp that you would call really good, right? Because we saw a team. What match was it? We literally saw them draft a comp exactly like this with Vi, and this is the first game we reviewed, and it was super easy to execute. And this looks basically like that, but beefed up. You have Aatrox, you have Jarvan, like this comp right here is amazing. But
I think this
I
was clearly an Ivern diff.
yes, but
Yeah.
I'm also gonna flame. I'm about to flame this Ivern because this build gives me so much cancer. It's crazy. Your build, so okay,
I've seen this build work on my, to be honest.
but I don't understand. Okay, so first of all, I don't understand how Ivern is 2 levels above Jarvan because one of the biggest like struggles with Ivern is keeping up in levels, especially toward the mid game. Right? Like mid game, Ivern kind of has a point where he's like, okay, I'm 2 items, but like my passive is still relatively long because I don't think you get your passive down to 1 second or like 3 seconds until levels 14 and 15. So right, so when you're like levels like 7 to 12, 7 to 13, 7 14, you're kind of like, damn, this sucks. And you'll be like maybe 1 to 2 levels down even when you're winning. So the fact that Kite God somehow managed to get to level 18 while Nation stayed at level 16 is insane.
I mean, G4 does fall off pretty hot, like pretty hard.
He does,
I would
but
honestly,
still.
well, it's 37 minutes. I was gonna say I would expect him to have even less CS and even less XP. If because the thing is, if because the whole point of J4, right, is to play for early game, right, early to
Mhm.
mid game. That's when he's strong. So as the game progresses, and if you're just not making plays, if you're just, we can see we did get so Eclipse's Dies got 2 Heralds, but they only got 1 Drake. They got Being Chillers got 2 Barons and the 4 Drakes. Then it kind of feels like if you're stalling or trying to you know, maybe just trade an objective for the other, then you're probably just farming and you're not trying to do much because at the end of the day, we Eclipse Died's Solar had 10 kills
Mhm.
and 21 assists. So it's not that much. I mean, he sure participated 80% of those uh, kills, but also it just feels like if you're as you get to late game, his urge for doing stuff, being proactive becomes more difficult. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I just feel like I would expect him to be like if you're behind, you would try to find a pick because you still have good pick potential with Victor, with Maokai, with Memev. You can still find that and get the extra gold. Maybe get yourself a 5v4 for an objective later on because you just killed their I don't know their 80 carry, their Syndra that were pretty fat. You see 300 CS on the mid laner, 300 CS on ADCs. ADC Trinket just said they got a Quadra on Zaya. I mean, she had 11 kills, pretty strong. So it's just doomed, right?
Mhm. Um. Yeah, I mean this game just kind of feels like. I mean, you look at the late game power of Bing Chillers here, and it's just absolutely outrageous, right? You have ornaments, you have Syndra. Syndra at 100 splinters. I've said this for a while. Syndra is the best mid laner in the game right now. Like APY, like an AP champion, Syndra's the best mid laner in the game, I think, because she has a really good laning phase, right? She's able to disengage if you get ganked. You have the Scatter the Weak available. You have a decent amount of poke with your Q actually has a lot more range than people think it does.
Yep.
And
You do a lot more
when
damage too.
yeah,
That what
and
people
then
would think.
eventually when you do go late game, right? When you do get that 2 to 3 items or whenever, when you do get those 100 splinters, you become you literally just become Thanos. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do against like I've seen Syndra's QE and kill someone, and I think we saw that for a game I casted
Yeah.
recently. I don't know if it was Elysium or it was the last
It
week's game.
was last week's. It was me. I was playing Ari and
Yeah,
against
yeah, it was
Elysium,
you.
and it was top lane. He was sitting in a bush. He kills me with QE from like 100% health.
Yeah, like that champion is absolutely ridiculous. Like if the enemy mid laner has any kind of signs of playing it, like if you think there is even like a small chance that it's going to be picked and you're not going to pick it, I would highly recommend banning it. I think it's one of the best just because of how safe it can be and like how effectively Syndra works with first strike. Like first strike on Syndra is so good, right? Because you will
Yeah.
always proc it. So I don't know. I just think that like combine this with ornaments and it's an FF angle. Like you're never ever gonna kill the Syndra because
Yeah,
they have
it's really
Ivern as
hard.
well.
And you have
Well,
Like
Syndra
you're
has
Aatrox.
never getting into this backline.
And don't forget, you have an Aatrox that doesn't scale super well, and he didn't get fed, right? He's 0-2 and 4, so
Hmm.
it's not like it's gonna
Um,
be a menace on the game.
my only gripe is that I don't think Leandries is that great here. I think you should probably have just gone Ludens. I personally like Ludens in more situation like in general I just think Ludens is better. I don't really think that it's a complete sin that you took Leandris here because obviously you ended 7-2 and 9, but I don't know. I'm personally much more of a Leandry's. I mean, not Leandry's. Luden's enjoyer
For
in
Syndra,
cases
yeah,
where they
yeah.
have a lot of tanks.
Yeah, for this
Yeah,
case, you don't
like
have a lot of tanks, you don't have a lot of life. I think
yeah,
if you are self R ahead already, obviously we don't know for this game if they were ahead or not. But if you're ahead as Syndra, especially into a Victor, into a J4, into a MF, just get yourself a Ludens, go for the burst damage. It's gonna be so much worth it because you're gonna get the extra penetration from the other items.
hmm
So she didn't go Void Staff, right? She just go into straight AP. So if you go
yeah,
Ludens and go straight AP, you're gonna get extra penetration, and you're just gonna melt these guys.
yeah. What I'm getting from Syndra not going any magic pen at all is that she has basically been strong from the get go, right?
Yeah,
Maybe picked up like 1 to 2 kills early on, and was just like, you know what? Their front line is so unbelievably weak that I don't need to deal with that. Because if you look at their magic resist, there's not a lot of it. They have 2 Merc Treads, and that's it.
Hex Drinker.
Jarvan, well, they do have the Hex Drinker, and the Maw from the 2 topside players, but like they ended 2-5 and 0-2.
yeah.
So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that they were probably behind for most of the game. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, then really it doesn't matter. Also, Nation, I don't know if you're watching this or if you're gonna watch the VOD or whatever, but pop that elixir of iron, buddy. Please, thanks.
Damn.
Damn, calling
That's
out.
roast.
Whoa,
We should
whoa,
go to
whoa.
game two real quick then, with that transition.
Well, we're gonna make that transition to game two, and game two actually can talk a little bit more. It's a 32-minute game. That one I actually did a review because I did talk, did some notes to the guys. Um,
Hmm.
so basically the way this game went was, in my view, um, the bot lane. So they did. So being chillers played pretty well around the bot lane. Zach
Hmm.
had some repeated ganks that they were able to cash in on flashes, on exhaust, got those summoners, repeated a gank, couple seconds later, got the kills, snowballed the Zaya. On the other side, you had, you know, top on Rumble also winning on CS, but like almost trading like 1 for 1. But then you would also have good rotations from Kite God to punish that. In spite of us not punishing the top side as much because we had the Nord. So I believe the team just make sure that he played weak side. And the one thing that I saw from our team that did pretty well was they played the mid game. They didn't have a bad early, but they had a pretty good mid game where they were able to capitalize on bad rotations from the Nautilus, bad rotations on the Tristana, catching on wards, resetting, you know,
Hmm.
catching them on bad positionings. Outrage had again very good game on the Cassiopeia. He got himself a couple solo queues on the Sundra. He was ahead in the beginning of the game. um, the game was pretty even, like 1K gold lead for pretty much the entire game between let's say like 10 minutes until like 22, 20 something. Um, then the late game, that's what I think when Big Chillers as a team were better because from what I saw was they had good rotations towards the objectives. They were able to capitalize objectives on resets, right? Um, they were able to catch the Baron from a bad rotation from our side, and also they played the team fights a bit better. They had better positioning. They had ways like we didn't have ways to stop their engage, even though we had a Braum. But in my view, I don't see Braum stopping any of these champions. They don't stop really. Rumbles are. They can only stop really Nautilus Q, and that's it. They can't really
Hmm.
stop Zac. So once we
Yeah.
use all the CDs on the frontliners, you have a Rumble ulti from so far ahead on top of you. You have Kaiser fly in the back line. Um, so in my view, I think being chillers were better as a team. where
Mhm.
they had better decisions, they had the better calls, they were executed those calls, and they were also better on the team fights itself. They executed team fights a bit better and less
Yeah.
sloppy, and they won out of three team fights, and they clashed and they finished the game. So they won one, where we took Drake, but they finished us and went for the second Baron. They won one that went for the final GG, and there was one mid game where it didn't end up for being for objective. It was more like they just won and got waves, maybe a turret. But I think
Mhm.
overall, Bing Chiller showed to be a very good team for decisions, in-game decisions, from what we had faced them a couple weeks ago. But I think this team has evolved. If you have any power rankings, I think I would bump them a couple cases up because they were pretty solid from my point of view.
Yeah. So I like the draft here. I think it's really, really well done. Obviously Ivern would have been great here, but they did ban Ivern. So um that's kind of unfortunate because anytime you have double marksman, Ivern is just unbelievable, right? Like he's so good with double marksman. Um, but I do like the Zac here. I think that it's really like the engage, um, like the ability to engage with this comp is really, really good. And I do like that Ionian Ninetales did take the cleanse. I think that's very good. If I was not so dark, I might not be on the show, but um, that jokes aside, if I was the Ashe, I also probably would have taken cleanse. Because you're against a Nautilus. This is just kind of a standard champion that you take cleanse against. And they also have Zac, right, who's really good at locking down. I feel like exhaust is good here, but that probably should have been Trux's job to take exhaust because ignite. I mean, what are you gonna do with ignite here, right? Like, there's like ideally you don't want to 2v2 against a Nautilus Tristana, right? I mean, this is a
No,
2v2
no, it was
that's
Nautilus Kaisa.
oh, Nautilus Kaisa, I'm sorry. Like, but my point still remains the same, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to 2v2 against this as Ash Braum. Your most vital thing as this comp is to poke and to stall and to just piss off, right? So I don't like the ignite here from Trux, and I really don't like the Blade of the Ruin King here for the Ashe. I think that it delays Mythic when Triforce is just kind of a rush here. There's not a lot of value I feel you get out of Blade of the Ruin King.
I think he
Um,
goes Triforce first, if I'm not mistaken. That's when
oh,
he went.
really?
Yeah.
Well, then that kind of opens up another can of worms. We're going then just don't go Blade of the Ruin King at all, I feel, right? Because second item Blade of the Ruined King doesn't really make sense. Like I cannot remember the last time anyone built Blade of the Ruined King second because that's usually an item you want to rush, and it's not good to rush here. Kraken is better here, I think, 100%, because you have Nautilus and Zac and Kraken here, along with your LDR. You would destroy them with your Q, and you would destroy them with the fact that you have a ton of slows, right? And that's really good with someone like Lilia, who can really capitalize off of the enemy being slow and just dancing around them. Because I've seen some crazy clips of Lilia's just being able to dance around under the right conditions and just deal so much damage. And there is not a soul on the enemy team that should be able to catch Lilia if played properly.
Yeah. I do think for this game, the Lilia and Caster they did a lot. I think like mid to late game, I think mid game Ash was quite useful. Um, but definitely it felt like it was easy for Zac to just capitalize on our carries. Rumble would ult, and then Zac would just lock them in a place. Nautilus would lock them in that place too, and just finish off. Kaisa would have just, go in the back line to finish them off. That's pretty much how he felt. Um, but yeah, I agree with you. The only thing that I probably would imagine this going differently is if Lilia was focus on power farming, focus on getting that lead that she wants, and looking for potentially counter engage Zach, especially because they would probably want to play for bot side since they have Kai'Sa Nautilus. And I think the 3v3 works well because you have one slow from Ash, two you have Lilia, right? Lilia doing
Hmm.
Lilia things. Those were the
Yeah.
two things that I would imagine that if we did it correctly, then we could definitely potentially have a third game on these series.
Yeah. Um, I also think that Rylai's would have been so. I mean, I don't know, because again, I'd have to see the game state, but I think Rylai's would have also been really good against this comp. They have a lot of mobility, and just being able to slow them and allowing your team, who is literally all immobile except for like Ornn's E, uh, giving them the opportunity to sort of catch up in these fights and chase down, which is something I feel like they kind of lack, would have been really, really nice, especially when you're adding on to the slow that Ash provides. So I personally would have probably gone Rylai's third in this game, but I guess it's all subjective to game state, right?
Yeah. So now with these results, the Chemtech group right now sits with Dynasty Ruby and Worth both at 2-0 with 4-0 game record.
Hmm.
Um,
And they play next week. They play each other next week, so we'll
yes,
get to see who's first.
they played. They're playing for first. You have Eclipse Tide Solar, Big Chiller Clear Comms, tied for third with the same record 1-1 and 2-2, and also tied for last. Team Ambition Exodia and CB Sapphire 0-2, 0-4 game record, where um, they and now and Big Chillers faces CB Sapphire, Team Ambition faces Eclipse Tide Solar. So there's a lot that can happen on that mid pack. Um,
Hmm.
Looking forward to see how that shapes. Now I'm gonna switch to Arcane Group, and a reminder, yeah,
Arcade.
reminder that we won't be talking about CB Aurora versus Elysium because they're playing right now. I believe they're on Elysium Omen's Twitch channel. Um,
Hmm.
they started the game at 9 p.m., so we're probably at second game right now, if it's not too fast. So we're gonna cover 4 games. The first game, actually, I'm gonna skip the first game on the list, and I'm gonna jump to the second game, which is Flano Esports Ethereal versus Literal Monkeys Gold. So, Literal Monkeys Gold. Oops. Here. Now I'm gonna bring here. I still haven't had a chance to see them in action. I wish I had because I've been getting really good vibes from this team. Like I'm seeing a lot of people giving a lot of good things for them. So I'm really excited to see them at one point. So so this is game one. This is a 27 minutes game.
Hmm.
Um
And this is literal monkey's gold, right? Yeah, I'm just
yes.
confirming.
So let me see Literal Monkeys Gold. Which
I'm seeing a
side?
lot of Lissandra and Syndra
Oh
at the
yes.
moment.
I I don't
Every
know if you
single.
Yeah,
noticed, Lysandra got buffed on 13.14. She's
she's
really strong.
crazy. Yes. Okay, so game one, game one. Okay, so right off the gate, I'm really curious to see what Literal Monkeys Gold just as a team can do, and it looks like they're doing really well because all of these players are very good. Big News was on CB Hydra last year, which won, and he himself was a really good top laner. Jesus Juice personally is like one of my favorite players. I think that he plays a really nice style of jungling, and I think that he's also one of the best junglers in AGL. I like Scrapple. I think Verja's also really cool. Verja, if you're still here, then I love you. And Pinguinos is also very good at the game. So these players already there's like a story to this team, which I'm a color caster, so stories are kind of my jam. So I like this a lot. But more than that, I think that this comp is honestly pretty damn good. It's easy to execute. It's meta adept. It has clear strengths and weaknesses. And overall, I think that yeah, like if you're able to execute this properly, then it should be an easy win, and it was.
Yeah, I do feel like Lissandra is such a good champion overall. Um, she's she was weak. That's why I think she doesn't appear as much, but she do so well with carries where she can provide so much CC, and she is one of those champions where you don't really think much, but you should really be building QSS to deal with her ult because she has a lot of CC, and especially going Everfrost, she has 3 forms of CC that can easily, um, be used and actually do it, get those CC out. So she can
Yeah,
set up for Viego's reset really easily. That's why we're seeing 11 assists on her. She can deal with Kaisa. If Kaisa jumps, stops her. Even Ari, if Ari jumps, stops her. Amumu goes in, kill, extended, like massively extend CS. If you get a kill, not only have the Viego reset, you have the Lissandra reset. You have MF's ult to finish off. So I think this is a really good combo. And on top of everything, they just put a Malphite just to, you know, finish.
be safe. Yeah, because you can never really go wrong with Malphite. So the enemy team's comp though, okay. So first of all, I have been very outspoken against this champion. Anytime I see it in solo queue, anytime I see it in competitive, anytime I see it anywhere, I don't like it. I do not like Riven. I think Riven as a champion is good in lane if you know what you're doing. But Riven is one of those champions that you have to be good at her. Like you have to know exactly what you're doing. You have to know a decent amount of mechanics. You have to know when your item spike is. Otherwise, the champion feels beyond useless. And it does feel like Riven was not really that useful. This,
Yeah.
I mean, 8k damage, almost 9, and did not get like a lot of gold income. And overall,
And you're
it
blinding. You're blinding,
yes.
which I think is the worst. It's the fact you're blinding. You're saying you're confident enough to pick Riven, which it's kind of telling. You have Kais. It's like the same thing that you said for the other game. You're playing strong side everywhere, right? You have
Mhm.
Nautilus and Kaisa in the bot, which is already has a good setup, and then you have Riven top that also wants, gold and resources, and you have Lydia that wants to power farm everything because she doesn't she can gank obviously, but technically she wants to power farm to get her items,
Mhm.
and she just power farms super well. And when you're
I mean,
blinding, it's like you're giving them a chance to pick so many counters that does fine into Riven. And Big News just took the Malphite.
And Malphite's good against Riven too. Like you Q Riven and you just run away,
Yeah.
right?
look
And
at the damage to gold ratios for the
yeah,
top
like
laners. Like they all have the almost similar gold, but you have 10,000 more damage coming out of Big News on the
yeah,
Malphite.
full AP Malphite too. Like
Yeah,
like full.
full AP. Holy
So
crap.
I really don't like the Riven here. I also so I'm trying to kind of think about what to say about this Lilia because I do like Lilia as a champion, but it doesn't feel like this is the type of comp that you want to play. Like Lilia strives and thrives when she's able to run around, right? In big open spaces, you love Lilia, right? But the thing is, there is so much lockdown from literal monkey's gold that this Lilia just gets completely screwed over, right? Like how is this Lilia supposed to even move, right? Like if they want her dead, they will kill her, and
They
it's
can
not
kill
even going
everyone.
to be difficult, right? Yeah. So not only do I feel like it was a better comp, but just the sheer brute force damage drafted by literal monkey's gold in this just makes every champion on the enemy team like it just makes them impossible. It makes it impossible to live. They don't have any like central tank, right? Because Riven isn't a tank, and Nautilus got 6k gold and barely got barely got 3 items, right? So yeah, like the Nautilus is like the only front line that they have, and in addition to that, they have like no engage, right? Like they can Nautilus hook, but if they Nautilus hook the wrong person, then gray screen simulator.
Well, like
Yeah.
their
Uh
entire team is the wrong person though,
Yeah.
other than Meth. Like hook the
yeah,
Sandra. Okay, she W ults. You
yeah,
know, like
exactly. Like
ugh.
there's not a single target in this game that you as Nautilus can hook. Like, okay, let's be generous here and say you somehow hook Verja, who has cleanse, by the way, and he dies. Right? Let's just say Verja doesn't exist. Verja, you don't exist. And I know you're in this chat. So you don't exist. And then Jesus Juice walks up, 7-foot long sword, 14 and 2, and bonks your whole team to death, gets Nautilus, Riven, Lilia, Ari, and is just able to run around with Heartbreaker
Yeah.
and
If he gets Lilia's,
constant movement abilities.
if he gets Lilia's body, it's over. He's
Yeah,
going to run over at you. Like nothing you can do
like
about it.
this is the comp that Viego loves to play against, right? Hypermobile enemy team because he can just use their movement abilities and then Heartbreaker out, more movement abilities from the guy he just picked up, and just rinse and repeat. And that's exactly what they drafted. It really is just the biggest draft and execution diff in this game. Like there is absolutely nothing that there's absolutely nothing that Flannel Esports can do in this game. They just get so screwed over. It's actually kind of sad.
Now, I think there's a big change when it comes to game two, because I'm going to bring it up here
Oh, please do.
because it kind of feels like this is a 35-minute game, which is a bit better in terms of like how it went. And it's like, okay, let's ignore what we did back. Let's keep with the prior on the Kaizen. Let's take the Viego for us. Let's steal the Viego. Um,
Hmm.
it kind of feels like he did okay, but at the same time, let's see what Monkeys did. Monkeys Gold did. They capped the Amumu and Miss Archer, which I don't see how you don't ban that combo. At least separate the combo, right? Separate the combo, put them on something
Yeah.
different. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
Scrapple got Oriana versus
See,
Vax. Interesting.
s-
And
see
the
now
Echo.
That's the
this,
weird lane.
yeah, this is an example I feel of a good Oriana game. Right? Like this is an example of you have two champions on the enemy team. You have two champions on your team. You have Gnar and you have um Amumu. You put the ball on one of them and you get the big shockwave, right? Like this is an example I feel of a good Oriana game. And this is also not a bad matchup for Oriana, right? Like Vex cannot hard punish Oriana because Oriana doesn't have any mobility abilities, right? So it's not like the worst lane in the world. And if Ori is just able to kind of chill, then it's chill, right? It's good. Like if the lane breaks even, most of the time that's a good thing for Ori. So yeah, I do like the Ori pick here, and this is a really good game. I feel to pick it.
Yeah,
I
but
wonder if they picked the Vex thinking it was going to be an Echo mid.
um, I would
I sure
imagine
hope not.
so because Vax was B4 and Echo was B R3. So Echo
Oh,
was an answer towards the Viego, and Vex was an answer probably thinking the Echo. No, actually, no, I'm sorry. R4, they did pick Oriana, so they did show mid lane Oriana and then Vex into it. Sorry.
oh,
Okay.
that's weird.
Okay.
Usually against Ori, you want to pick like a long range mage.
Hmm. I do like Volibear here, though. I will say
Yeah,
that
no,
I will compliment that.
top was
Like
night and
big,
day.
yeah, big news got absolutely plastered.
He
This
got
is
this.
this this is an absolute. This is a really good game to pick Volibear because you're basically so they have like a good amount of burst on their team. I feel right, like Literal Monkeys Gold have like good burst with Curse of the Sad Bullet Time, and then you have the Shockwave, and then you have Echo, who's an assassin, right? But basically, Little Fox is able to survive all of that and more, and just heal off of it, right? and they don't have a ton of prolonged damage as a team. They have 2 separate 3 on-hit passives, and one of them takes time to refresh, and Gnar is 3 and 13. So it's really hard to kill this Volibear. I feel like if they went for more combo, like I feel like if they went for more to play off of Volibear, like if they played off Volibear more with a comp that suited him, we probably could have seen this gone to game 3, because on one hand you have champs that love to team fight and extended fight like Volibear and Viego, who do really well at that. But then you have Burst with Vex, and I feel like Vex sticks out like a sore thumb in this comp. I feel like you should not pick Vex here. Just my opinion. I feel like there are better options than Vex.
Yeah. I personally have issues facing Oriana. I think it's since she's one of the most classic champions, like in the mid lane. I think is um quite. I personally feel it's quite difficult to face her. So I try to bring more comfort towards it. I don't know if it was the same for Velsis, but like she definitely dealt the most amount of damage. Vex didn't do that bad. 24k damage. Definitely didn't have the same gold, and she died a lot. But
Hmm.
looking from the side of Monkey's gold, kind of feels like even like okay. So here's the thing: Jesus Juice smurfed well. 14.5, 29k gold, k damage,
Yeah,
18k gold, massively. Nobody's even close to him. Then you have
yeah,
Scrapple doing also pretty good, highest damage of the game. Uh, Not as much gold, but a good amount of gold. But if you look at big news, even though he got dumpstered 313, he has a very high damage, so he's still able to do things. And he also built Hullbreaker,
which I like.
yeah, forcing them. Okay, if you want to I'm 313, right? I'm kind of useless in team fight, so I'm gonna stick on split pushing. You guys have to deal with a massive echo. You guys have to deal with a good team fight comp, and if you guys don't send someone to deal with me, which your strongest player is the Volibear, if Volibear doesn't stay here, I think it's going to be a really hard for Vax, Kai'Sa, Rel, or Viego to deal with the Gnar on the side lanes.
Exactly.
So you're
Yeah,
losing your strong side just to deal with the Gnar.
yeah, like there literally isn't anyone else that can deal with this Gnar on sideline other than Volibear. So that is really smart from Big News to just say fuck it, let's go Hullbreaker and split the whole time. Um, I like that a lot. I think that's really good macro, as you said. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there's a lot to say about this game. I just overall I think
Yeah,
that
it's very even, like 34 kills to 35.
yeah, like
This was a
literal
close game.
monkeys. Yeah, literal monkeys gold. Just I feel played it better, and that was just kind of that.
But yeah, that's now Literal Monkeys, they're going for 2-0,
I
I
think they're
believe.
4-0, right?
Yeah, yeah. Their 4-0 game record, 2-0 match record. Um,
Hmm.
the next. Okay, so the next team, and that's when a couple spices. It's gonna come to the stream, because I can't not talk about. It's Eclipse Tide's New Moon versus Rocket Fellas. Rocket
Hmm.
Fellas won 2-0. We do have game clips, so I'm gonna bring them here so we can talk about it.
Oh yeah, Mr.
This
Clip.
is the new Eclipsing Tides team, right?
Yes, and
Unity deep pockets. Oh,
I
so
don't think this was the right game. Oh, there we
no,
go.
yeah, they did.
I got a commercial anyways. It's bad.
Me too. Me too.
80-second commercial. Ooh.
So I want to say first a big shout out to Axe. He's a sub on the team, but also one of our. He's my partner on ET, one of the owners, and he was spectacular on both games, but not enough to carry the team. So sad about it. But overall, my my thoughts for this series was very spicy because these teams have played in Reason before. Rocket Fellas has won before, so there was a lot of spiciness going into the game. I won't say names or anything like that because there was a couple, you know, situations in lobby and chat, but that has been resolved. But very spicy game, and good for Rocket Fellas that came out on top with the win. I think overall they showed a very good team, cohesive. Like they played as a team really, really well. So I praise them for that, and
Yeah.
I'll keep as this.
I mean, I think Rocket Fellas is, yeah, like you said, they're good in Risen. Overall, I think that even though they're not under like I always like organization. I always like teams. I'm sorry, that are um really good, but they're not necessarily under like an org banner. It's just like 5 people, 5 friends who band together and are like, all right, bros, listen, we gotta shit on these orgs, right? So yeah, so I do like the Lee Sin here. I always like it when Lee Sin is properly played. Now Cherex is getting kited to shit, but you know, happens. But yeah, Lee is really fun if you know what you're doing, and it seems like he knows what he's doing because he's playing really well.
Yeah, that listen was massive, like massive. I mean, we definitely fed him like things that we shouldn't have done, like some places that we should have been doing, and we just gave him like one Q after the other, and then he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna carry the game since you guys are giving me all these skills.
Yeah.
So
I am going to say that I really don't like the Zyra pick here. I feel like if you have 2 marksmen, you need something that can like you need something that can like defend them, like in the backline, like an enchanter or something like that. I feel like Zyra. I mean, she's a damage dealer, right? Like you pick Zyra for extra damage and CC and a really good ultimate that's not only good for team fight disruption but also good for zoning, right? And just overall damage. But it just feels like you're leaving your 2 marksman carries really high and dry, and when you have a lot of pick potential on Rocket Fellas, you need to be cautious of stuff like that. Like Cherex is just going in, weaving out, and it is able to constantly pick on the carries, right? So
yeah, I think he was able to use Lissin's mobility really well and really save the game because the game was going really bad for Rocket Falls in the beginning. It was like I think it was like 5-0 at one point with Tristana 2 kills ahead at early game, Mordekaiser 2 kills ahead, like massive CS lead into the Shen, but and the bot lane was tight, was even, and then all of a sudden the Lissin got the kills, the Lissin got started playing, getting making plays. They got I don't know if you noticed, but they got one play. They got 4 turrets, 3 turrets mid and 1 Nexus turret at like 60 minutes with 1 Herald. And then after that, they had another fight in the Drake where they got a triple kill on Corki, and then Corki just went massive. He's just spiked.
I I really
So
like Corki here. I like when Corki is picked because he is a champion that I feel he has like a difficult playstyle to sort of master. But like if you can play Corki correctly, it's really fun. Okay, Cherex is just playing Call of Duty, Black Ops, deathmatch in the enemy team's base. So that's nice. Okay, that was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean,
It's
I
GG.
I really like the Shen here as well. You have a lot of like Shen Corki is a combo that I think no one utilizes, and is he gonna get it? No. Um, Shen Corki is really fun, I think. And I think that Shen is also really good with someone like Lee Sin. And then you have Tarek to back them up. So I feel like the carries have a clear window into just being able to sort of let loose in fights. But I feel like that's where New Moon kind of lacks is they don't have any facilitation on their team. Like they have Sejuani, but Sejuani doesn't provide any like extra security other than like peeling. But like there's so many things that can get into the back line that you need a pick wherever it is that just goes and assists your carries because I feel like that's what separates these 2 comps and why Rockefellers are doing so well.
Yeah, one thing that at the point it kind of felt like the Rockefellers like and it would start like around 20 minutes because they had a chance to they have an open access. They tried to do the TP quirky. They tried to finish the game. They tried to finish the game with a Shen and listen after, and they started giving kills. They started giving shutdowns to Mordekaiser, to Tristana.
Yeah, I can see
So
this,
they,
right?
they
Like
started
they're
like
playing.
giving them a way to come back, right? Kind of felt like
Mm-hmm.
dropping to solo queue
Uh,
mentality. So that's one thing that they
Jurix?
need to worry about.
Okay, yeah, this is like classic. This is like like LNA Classico. Like they are playing really well, right? They're dominating the game, but then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? What if we just prolonged this game by like 10 minutes for no
Yeah,
reason? And I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, they end up winning anyway. It looks like this is the game-ending push, but yeah.
yeah,
I
they give
mean,
just
this
massive
is
shutdowns, giving reasons to come back, right?
yeah. I feel like yeah. I mean, if they can clean up their late game, then this is a team that I think has a lot of potential because the champions that they opted to pick in this game one are not usually ones you see in AGL. Like I don't usually see Lee Sin. I don't usually see Corki. I don't usually see Shen. Like this to me shows that you have a lot of diversity and preference, and I think that that is one of the best commodities going into a league like this is being unpredictable,
let us
having your
support
very own
LeBlanc.
set style, and yeah,
And
and
I
that is a support.
believe what's his name? Lubarki. Taglas is an E sub for the team, so it's not the main 80s because the main mid
Oh,
laner is a Messiah 117. So
oh, well, that's nice.
What do you think
Uh,
about this support, LeBlanc?
I mean, I don't know.
I think they after the way how the game one
Oh my
went,
god.
I think
Yeah.
My God.
so it goes back to what I was mentioning about the solo queue mentality. Like when they just start like getting so many kills, I think they start using like just solo queue vibes, and that's what they did here. Because I think believe they locked LeBlanc R3 or something, and only showed the correct later in the draft shifting that LeBlanc to support. So I think like they definitely just thought that okay, you know what, we're gonna try to do some solo queue because it was that easy game one, and
Mhm.
it worked well because they played really well. Aphelios did actually pretty good, amazing job. I think Taglas was even better in this game, more
Mhm.
proactive, um, safer overall. And I think Sharix was also pretty dominant
Yeah,
on the
this Kha'Zix is
Kazakhs.
doing well. Um, yeah, I mean, this game just kind of I like they're literally it really just feels like Rockefellers are like one step ahead at most points, and like even when they were throwing last game, it felt like they were still pretty far ahead. That's a nice little play from ETEX. But like I don't know. I think Rockefellers are not. I feel I mean I might be misreading it, but it feels like they are not taking this game as seriously as
Yeah,
like.
that's from draft. That's what I took. I mean, there was, and again, there were a lot of talks, in the lobbies, between both teams. I think that elevated a little bit the level of the game. A couple things happened. I won't say because it goes, it's not necessarily what we're here for. So I think
Wait, there was beef, or is that what you're saying?
I won't again. I won't say much. Um, but basically, I feel like when they went to game two, I think they're just like, okay, we're gonna ego a little bit, and it paid off, right? So,
Yeah. I mean, this
which
this
which is, I mean,
LeBlanc
it's good
support.
for them, right? I've seen
Yeah.
LeBlanc support work, right? Because I played with it
Mhm.
before, and if they make it work, that's great. Like it's really impressive. Again, as a team, I think they were really good. Like their calls, playing together, team fights. I think they were much better than what New Moon showed, and it kind of felt like after game one, the New Moon team was way more lost. in the
Yeah.
series. It felt like they were really
Um,
lost.
yeah, I mean, automatic. Like already, you can see like we're 21 minutes into the game, and Wukong still does not have the 1200 smite, which is insane. I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, I mean, Rockefeller's. It really just does feel like they're playing with their food this game.
Yep.
Like where they're 10k up, 23 minutes into the game. They pick LeBlanc support with Kha'Zix, and it's yeah. I mean, look at this. Tangles is literally just going for a bombing run in World War II, and man, it ends up dying, but like, who cares? So yeah, I mean, not a lot to say about this game. Rockefeller's, I can clearly tell they're just having fun.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for this Wukong, man. He did not had a good series. '07 got his ass
Yeah,
destroyed.
I mean, I mean, now that you tell me there was beef, I think I like this game more after that. I don't even know what I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what they said, but you know, I'm a caster. I live for the drama.
Not gonna lie,
Um,
this Shin into Camille is a great pick because if whoever Camille ults, Shin just ults. That's
yeah, I mean,
that's a nice little combo.
Shen shits on Fiora like all day. So, oh my god, she dashed into the Ashe ult. That's yikes. Yeah. Overall, pretty clean game. Yeah,
I mean, it was a
I like this
banger.
comp a lot.
46 kills in 30 minutes. I mean, it was a banger of game, so
Hmm.
fun to watch for sure.
That's all,
And
folks.
yeah.
I like that I like that the mid laner and top laner of New Moon still have their Doran's Blade and Doran's Ring in inventory.
Hey man,
Gotta get
they're getting
everything
as much value as possible.
exact. Now with this result, we got New Moon at 1-1 and uh, Rocket
What
Fellas
the fuck was
tied
that?
for first with 2-0.
Wait, can you go back to that last play?
Oh,
Top lane, I didn't see that.
I can try to reload.
Okay. Okay, wait, so so emotional damage, running the other way, not to his turret,
And then flashing afterwards.
and then flashing backward.
He has some emotional damage.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
All right, so the next game that I'm gonna show up is actually Robbie's game, Sun Hydra and Clown Gaming Spartans. They're gonna get their time, and this was also a banger. This was a 3-game series, so also I believe this was the longest clip that we had. There was a lot happening overall, I believe. So a lot of good things happening here.
Okay, so yeah, I remember this because I casted this game, obviously. Okay,
Or
so
Draven.
right out of the gate, I feel like Hep was not prepared on this Draven. He did well farming and everything, but like there were certain parts where I was like, "Whoa, buddy!" Like he went way too ham here. Like this positioning is really bad. Taco Cat is not near him, and Taco Cat wasted stun, so now there's nothing holding Rel from just slamming his face in, right? So
I think Tiggs here played so well,
yeah,
considering.
I agree. I think throughout this whole series, Tigsy played really well. Like even the game that I casted where you guys faced Elysium Omen, it seemed like Tigsy knew what he was doing, and so yeah, that was good.
Yeah, he savage like
Oh.
a possible dive where he would lose like a massive wave and turn into
Hmm.
a 1-for-1. But that actually is pretty worth. But overall, Hydra was playing very well this early game.
Yeah.
Kaisa 4-0. Um, Static Shift already built. Shut down
hmm
for Viger. Draven not too far
And
behind, but he lost his stack, so that's actually good.
and Sun Hydra to me had no business losing this game. Like Maokai actually did really, really, really well in the early game. Had really smart pathing decisions. Played really well and really nicely around the team. And like this, I feel was the fight that kind of changed everything. Like they didn't get Hep, so Noshikoto just dies. And now you have Robe here. How you doing? Just killing squad fan, and yeah. So that was like the fight I feel that turned this game around. Robe, I saw that by the way. This is good. Okay, this Okay, I said this on the stream, but this was a weird ass play. So it looked cool because oh my god, 3-man Fiddlesticks Crow Storm into 3-man, you know, Starfall and wow. But then Fiddlesticks wastes Zonia's when there's a fight right around the corner, right? And yeah, I feel like that play was like cool on paper, but not necessarily worth it. Also, Sagato is 1v9.
He played pretty well.
Yeah. Also, this league is sponsored by Trolley. Um,
I trolled here. I was like, oh, they're not on Baron.
when you dropped, I want to go to the clip. I don't know if it's here, but like when you dropped the Skies Descend and the
Oh,
Shockwave killed the Kaisa, that was like the highlight of the game.
but we
That made us
were
both really laugh.
people were talking about he should have hourglassed it, but I ulted out of vision for him, so he only had a split second to Zonia's.
Yeah.
So
So Tigsy, yeah, you guys. So I mean, I said this on broadcast, but like you guys lost early game, but like managed to turn around mid to late game, which is what your comp wants. You have ornaments, you have fiddlesticks, you have
Oh yeah, one of the things that I
Ace
wanted to
Hole.
add is that and this is valid for all the games that I saw from Clown Gaming. This is the first time that I saw you guys playing. I've seen Tigsy playing before, but this is the only one that I know for sure that have seen like some samples. But basically, like it did feel like you guys weren't as much proactive as maybe you could have with Fido, especially after six. It felt like Hydra had, a better always like moving first, always, getting making the plays. I mean, eventually you guys would come up and get your soul, but to me,
here it comes, by the way.
yeah, the most impactful thing on the game from you guys are your team fight.
hmm
Here we
Yeah,
go.
like let's
Yep.
like dude,
Your team fight is just like
like
a lot
bruh, come
better.
on. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what you have to like be careful of in fiddlesticks, and I mean I've been advocating that fiddlesticks is one of top 3, top 5 most broken champions in the game just conceptually because one good crow storm at any point in the game and boom you're back, right?
Yep.
Like
No,
you create so much, you literally just create like the biggest damage circle and force everyone to
and
go on you. And if
CC
you have Zonias, yeah,
and
like you have so
CC.
much CC. And in addition to that, Fiddlesticks just breaks the concept of vision by having built-in control wards at level 6. So he doesn't have to waste gold on stuff like that. And if he does decide, hey, I want some control wards, then bonus vision, and there you go.
But
But
yeah, it definitely feels like Clown Gaming is really good at team fighting. Like as a group of five, they play really well. They know where they have to play, how you play, like how you put your skills on top of each other. That was the biggest stake for me on this team.
yeah. Okay, so this game. Okay, so I okay, you're lucky we don't have our producer for this game because he probably would have flamed the shit out of you guys. Our producer is a Ziggs, is basically a Ziggs Nyla two trick.
Bro, I don't play Ziggs.
So he was literally like at the end of the game, I think he unmuted and was like, I hate both these I hate these motherfuckers. Or like was like super pissed because he in the chat too, he like flamed the rune setup from Hep on this Nyla. And I'm gonna be honest, this Nyla was like Nyla Tarek is really good, but I mean,
I think
does
the
Hep
idea is
actually
good, right?
yeah, does Hep actually have practice on Nyla? Be honest.
So this game, like,
Question mark.
we have a bad habit with we have a really bad habit when it comes to champ select. And we
What?
kinda just like like first of all that was kind of weird, but
What the fuck?
like we pick things and then we're like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this, and then all of a sudden there's 2 seconds left on the counter for the pick and champions. So
like, like, I like there were parts of this Nyla game that I was just like, I don't know what to say because first of all, I barely know what this champion does. No one plays Nyla, and then like I don't know. Hep just was not able to play the game, and I felt bad for him in the game one because he got like no resources as Draven. Like you guys just straight up left your boy high and dry. But um, yeah, this felt like such a weird game because it felt like it was like in your ballpark the whole time to win. Like up until the Nexus exploded, I had like a feeling you guys might have been able to come back, but it just like never came. And like, okay, this was the part that I was like rolling my head because so what are you guys doing here? Like,
I mean, it kind of like so between like 13 to this 17-minute mark, it kind of feels like Hydra was just moving the map, killing people. Um, and Clown Gaming was trying to they tried to like get farm in the jungle. Boom, got killed. I believe the Mumu just got killed like a minute before as well, and now they saw everybody in the bot
that's
side.
awkward.
They tried to get tier 1 mid, and boom, they got killed again. So it kind of felt like they were just
yeah,
moving around, killing, and there was
hmm
no answer from Clown Gaming.
yeah. I mean, yeah, this draft was weird as shit. I'm
Ooh,
gonna be honest.
poor Hap. One
Like
and six.
the builds felt weird. The game felt weird. Everything about this game was just really awkward because you guys kept going for fights, but at no point were they like winnable fights, right? Like Sun played a very easy game. I feel like this game I feel like was kind of a blunder.
Yeah, it definitely felt like very weird from like very
That
different
being
from what
said,
game one said.
we're about to have the craziest play of all time here. Watch this. Boom! Yeah,
You
Brittany and I lost our minds when we watched this.
got
We were like, wait, hang on. Like, wait, do they actually have a chance? And then this is where I feel like you guys messed up. So yeah, slap games. What? So if you don't mind me asking, what were like the comms like during this fight? If you can like recall and share.
Uh, Panic.
Panic.
I was like stressed because I had this stupid Daisy on me. I
Hmm.
I hate that. It's like a 6 player, honestly. Did you see they buffed it next patch too? They made Smite deal half damage to pets now.
Yeah. So now Ivern gets nerfed, but then he gets buffed again.
Right.
Um. So
We
yeah, I mean,
honestly
you
don't
guys.
know how to deal with it, so we're perma banning if anyone plays Hybrid. We're perma banning it pretty much.
A wise choice. I mean,
But
I feel like Slap Games. So Slap Games had a really good one and a really really good game three. Like if I had to elect an MVP for this match, I would honestly say it's Slap Games. But in game two, it just felt like he was disconnected from what the team kind of wanted to
Slap
do.
Games wasn't in game one. He
Oh, well
was
well
only
then
in 2 and 3.
he played really good in game 3, but
Yeah.
like yeah, my bad. He played really good game 3, and um, but it felt like at times like you guys were really split on like what to do.
Yeah, this game felt really awkward. Like everyone was getting like it feels like you guys forgot there's a Lissandra in the game. Hap got like a solo kid once in bot. Robbie just got killed there by Lissandra. Like forgetting that she has a E and she just shows up out of nowhere.
Okay, that blast cone from Tigsy was really funny. Like I could tell he wanted to go over the wall, but he just went to the side. Uh, so yeah. I mean, even though you don't play Ziggs, like you actually did pretty good, like all things considered. Like your minefields were really crucial. You put them at really good spots. Like your poke was really well done. Like you were definitely very good. It
Yeah,
just felt like the issue this game was communication.
I just don't like the pick here, to be honest. Like
Hmm.
I don't like
Like
this.
that was unfortunate with or Closure. He went on the Sandra and then she like E'd instantly, and I was that's
Hmm.
I didn't realize that happened. I was like, how did he get over there? Like in my mind, I was like, how's Ring a Closure over there? What
I
happened? Now
I
I
also
see
thought
why it happened.
I thought the funniest part of this game was when Britty and I saw that Hep was building Collector um on Nyla, and then like 2 seconds after we said that, he sells the Duskblade and I mean not the Duskblade, the Serrated Dirk, and instead goes for the LDR.
Hmm.
And we joked
Oh,
that he was
this
watching the stream.
this is the two. This is like the 3v3 kind of, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
This was crazy. We actually had really good communication for this one.
Hmm.
We were really communicating our cooldowns and stuff, and like
Yeah.
I
right here, where this was all planned right there for that
Okay.
kill.
Sinister probably banged his keyboard after that, like smashed it. Like I
I
would
feel
be so
like
sad.
people underestimate a little bit of ASOL in the early game. Like yes, he's not like super strong, but he's not too weak
No, he's good.
if he can
Yeah.
get like his Q off, and if you're just taking his Q for free, that thing does a lot of damage. So people would,
Hmm.
not think
Yeah,
about
so
that.
in that prolonged 2v2, 3v3, like I was telling them, okay, I've got a biscuit in like 2 seconds. Wait, just keep kiting, flash out. I'll get the biscuit. I'll have an E. We'll kill the Trundle. And
Hmm.
then Tigsy came in down, and then he's like, okay, I got my Q3 in 2 seconds. I was like, okay, I'll save my W.
Yeah.
And then we got another follow up kill. And
Hmm.
then I think from there on, basically, we kind of had control of the game.
Hmm.
Although I'm not gonna spoil it. Never mind. With the Zaya thing later.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice
Um.
solo Q, Tigsy.
Tigsy is honestly cracked on this champion.
Yeah. No, this
Um,
is really good. Even against Omen, you guys like I could tell Tiggs really knew his stuff on Cassante. So
Wait, is this a play? Oh yeah, this is okay. So this is one play from Ichimonji.
I entered here. I should not have W'd like that.
yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, Ichimonji did like really good this
And
year. Like even though
here,
they lost, he did really well.
what's
the
the
funny thing here was JK was like, "How the hell does he have 6 kills in literally 3 people?" It seems like he just got a quadra.
I mean, we were literally
Oh man,
saying like Ichimonji is gonna have a tall task of having to try. It was literally Tigsy versus Ichimonji for like a good majority of this game, and then Tigsy ended up just being completely unkillable, and then Zai
I
wasn't able to deal with him, and yeah,
got a commercial.
T-
Feels bad.
yeah. Tigsy did really well this game. But I also wanted to compliment Slap Games on this. Like we complimented him a lot on this. He literally did not miss a hook.
Yeah, this
So
was his Thresh
Ooh,
games are hot gold usually, but this is one of his hot ones.
that's a
yeah, he did.
huge damage there.
Yeah, his hooks were sexy this game, honestly.
Why does Twitch do these stupid
Oh
commercials
yeah,
for
this time
2 minutes?
I think like Squad Fam underestimated a little bit of Hap because he's on Kaisa now, and he wasn't like
Mhm.
0-4 with the Nyla from the previous game. He tried to do the same thing and he got slapped. So
Yeah.
I think Kais went undefeated in this series. I think she played all 3 games, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of lame because Kaisa. I think Kaisa's really boring to watch, like personally.
well,
But
she is one of my favorite ADCs. To be fair, I think Kaisa and Ophelis are one of the best ADCs to
I like
play.
Zaya a lot. Personally, I think Zaya is really good.
I think
I like Jinx.
I like Zai mechanics. They can have like really good highlights, but
Mhm.
from a champion perspective, I just love Kaisa and Aphelios.
Yeah. All right, we're back. My ads are done. Okay,
Oh, is this the
so
time? Oh,
I
triple
think it
kill.
is.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
no.
preface this fight. This is it.
Nah, pentakill to have. Let's
So what
go.
happened here was like they used everything on me, but I still
Yup.
got my big R off. So
Yeah.
after that, they had nothing left for Hep. Just so Hep just
I
kind of
I
Oh,
mean, yeah. You and Tigsy literally just tanked all the damage, and so Hep was just able to free hit the whole fight. So
and he almost got a double penta. It was just like triple or quadra? Triple. Yeah, and that's game.
triple. We had a quadra, a triple, and a penta in this game, and a double. We had all the multiples
You got
on different
everything.
people.
yeah, yeah. This was overall like this was a really solid game from you guys. I would say. I would say game one was shaky. Game two was like kind of a loss, and then game three was like probably by far your guys' best game. Like I think if you guys play like that, then you will definitely be like one of the top teams in the conference.
Yeah, I think you guys are shaping up pretty good. I'm quite excited to see how the Arcane conference ends up because so we have Elysium playing CB Aurora right now. I'm expecting a win by Elysium, becoming the third team to be 2-0 in the series, and if they don't drop a game, they're gonna be tied 4-0 game record. Now, with your guys' victory, you guys are now 1-1. You do have the game differential against you guys, but
Yeah,
I do think compared to the other teams have shown so far, you guys are definitely a couple, uh, you know, houses ahead of the pack, in my opinion. So,
Mm-hmm.
and again, this is just week 2, right? There's still a lot
Yeah.
to happen, especially in this Arcane conference. It goes until like what, week 9? There's a lot of games, a lot to talk about, a lot to see from you guys. So I'm quite excited to see the following weeks. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Do we know what game we're gonna be casting next? Let me check.
Um, I
Let me. I think we do.
I
I
think
think it was posted.
was it
it's a
posted?
Hex Tech game. I think it's a Hex Tech game, isn't it?
Yeah, let me look. Hang on. Yeah, just let me take a look.
Is it in the document?
Event.
No, it's elsewhere.
Okay. So now for the last match of the night. Okay, so they're saying on the chat TSF versus Boosters.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So this will be an interesting game, I think, because so they're in the this. So I
Oh
think
yeah, it is
that
Hex Tech.
TSF. Yeah. So TSF versus Bluetooth.
That's going to
TSF.
be an
So
interesting match to watch for
I
sure.
think I say
yeah,
2-1 in favor of TSF.
me too. That's what I was gonna say. I think that so going boosters seems like they know what they're doing, but they have some positioning errors. Like I think their biggest downfall is just that their positioning in the game that we reviewed was kind of shaky. But TSF seem like they're on top of it, right? Like I don't think we didn't get to review their VODs, but they seem like a pretty solid team. I don't know. Yeah, I would say it's either going to be a 2-0 or a 2-1. I wouldn't be surprised if Team Shadow Frost Dominion end up actually 2-0ing?
I would say more than 2-1. I think they had a good game against Call of Duty Esports, so I do think they have the potential to get at least a game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Yoin Boosters ends up winning the match. To be fair, um,
Oh, we just got the post-match results for ELY versus CBA.
oh nice.
It was a 2-0 in favor of ELY.
Okay, which is expected.
Yeah. Uh,
Again, that team is
Dilly.
also one of the teams that should be like winner contention, right?
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, so their game two was actually. Yeah, so their game two was a 20-minute and 41-second win.
Well, they gave Aero a Blitzcrank. You should not give him Hook Champions, FYI.
Mhm.
Just saying.
Yeah.
He's pretty good on Trash, Blitzcrank, things like that.
Uh, yeah, and Guster Posey with the JMO champion. There's a little reference for you. Yeah, Siobhan. I haven't seen that champion in a while in competitive, but yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, one thing that just to finish off, the last game to talk about really briefly because there isn't really much is going to be Catalyst versus Return of the Middlesticks. Um, I want to go into the details because if you're interested, just go on the Aegis, check out the notification that have been posted. Again, my intention is not to talk about the issues that happen, but mainly what does this mean to the league. So basically, um, Catalyst Nova they won their match against Return of the Middlesticks. It was a 2-1 actually in their favor, but they got ruled. Again, go to the Aegis announcements, check
Oh,
what
that.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their game was overruled, meaning Return of the Middlesticks got 2-0 of that series, which is definitely gonna impact how well Catalyst can actually do in this league because since Return of the Middlesticks is one of the IBS teams, I was expecting them to have difficulties winning a match. They actually got one of the matches. They won at least a game. So I think it's the first IBS team that actually won a match so far.
Mm-hmm.
Bog for them. And getting this means they are. I don't know if I'll be able to show much of the arcane here. I'm going to try. But getting this victory means that they will have the ability to potentially fight for um, a playoff contention. Obviously, we're talking about being top six and at least having one series in right now gives them that chance because they still have to face Flano Esports, and if they're gonna pull off more upsets, we don't know. But I think having this victory might impact how Catalyst will or will not make into playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, it's not surprising to me that Return of the Middle Sticks is doing well despite being an IBS team because they're a very 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 well known organization throughout amateur just as a whole. Like they have a challenger team. They've been in the scene for a really long time, so they probably have like a lot of different resources for the players to sort of go to. So I'm actually looking at this team like how well can they sort of improve because an IBS team to me has much more, growth room than other teams, right? Because they don't start out as good. And so I think if this is a team that is already showing, a decent amount of promise, then they could really only go up. At least I would hope so, just because Return of the Middle Sticks is so storied, and that's kind of what I expect from them. But you never know what could
Yeah,
happen.
I
and
think
yeah,
that we're facing them next week.
All right, then
It's
good
one of the
luck,
middle
bro.
stick.
well, we can check that. So week 3, we got Eclipse Ties New Moon versus Catalyst Nova.
Yep, you guys are.
Rocket Fellows versus Flano, Elenu Omen versus Sunhider. That's going to be a good game to watch. Litra Monkeys versus CB Aurora, and Kong Gaming versus Return of the Beetlesticks.
Yeah.
So, interesting matches from this group. And is there any match from the Arcane? I just want to make sure we don't take too much time, but because it's already getting late. But I just want to ask you guys: is there any match for this conference that comes to your eyes that's gonna be like a match to watch for next week?
Is
Um,
this the
go.
Omen for
I,
Sanhandra? I think will be.
I would I would say the same thing. I think both Omen and Hydra are not okay. So I think both Elysium Omen and Sun Hydra. So right now, Elysium Omen, at least record wise, because they did just get that 2-0, have shown themselves to be like maybe a top team, right? Like maybe like top two, top three. Um, and I think that if Sun Hydra can take this series, then it's gonna kind of throw the entire top side, like the entire upper echelon of Arcane kind of for a loop. Because I feel like people are predicting Elysium Omen to win this series. They are a very dominant team. They had a lot of good, moments against Clown Gaming. But Sun Hydra, I feel, have a lot of potential to do really well. So I think if they end up winning the series, it'll be very interesting to see how the top parts of Arcane Conference go for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interested. I'm definitely thinking Omen and Hydra is definitely a game to watch. Because I think these are really good teams, and it feels bad because I think Hydra starts with a 0-2, despite being actually a good team. So it's rough for them because it's already 2 weeks and they didn't get any victories and any series win, so they have to start picking a win and facing off one of the strongest team in this conference and in the league. It can put them in a very difficult situation for playoffs because dropping
Yeah,
the
I mean,
balls, it like dropping the ball here. Well, not really dropping the ball against Elysium, but losing 0-3 is going to be really hard for them to come back, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree. If they lose here, then I feel like they are definitely one of the teams that are on the chopping block. Um, right, because we have such a short season. It's what, only 6 weeks?
It's
Um,
9, but still, like,
oh yeah, 9. Whoops. It's 9 weeks, but like if you have 1/3 of the season, you know, in 3 losses, then that's not good, right? Because then there's a lot more pressure to perform for, the remaining 6 weeks. And you really have to be careful at around like week like 6 or 7, because that's kind of when teams are going to start locking playoffs potentially.
yeah.
I can see Dynasty Ruby probably locking playoffs by like if they keep playing like this, and you know it seems like they are,
And
they'll probably lock playoffs really quickly. Same with like Rocket Fellas.
you also need to think about that game difference is going to be really important for these teams because right now they lost 2-0 2 games. So if they lose another 2-0, for example, and they all go 0-6, that's like a -6 game difference. Then not only they need to start thinking about winning, they need to start, okay, we need 2-0 because even if you win by 2-1, you might not take that, you know, game difference that could be a tiebreaker for against another team. So you also need to think about that, and not only the pressure to win, but also the pressure to like 2-0 on a series, like the best of 3 series. So I think there's a lot of pressure that can adds up, especially if when you go to that when you mention like week 6, week 7, and you're starting to like to face teams that are playoff contention, right? Or teams that are like, hey, they need the win here. So it's pressure, right? It's pressure. So um,
Yeah, for sure.
now just to go quickly on the Chemtech group, we have Worth and Dynasty Ruby, Bane Chillers, Clear Comms, and CB Sapphire, Team Ambition Exodia versus Eclipse Tide Solar. Um, in my opinion, here the game to watch
Pretty
is
obvious.
Worth versus Dynasty, right?
Yeah.
Facing play for the first place, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think like both these teams, I'm really sad that we're not going to be able to stream it, because that would be a really fun game to watch. But we literally just streamed Ruby like 2 weeks ago, so
Yep.
we can't stream them again. But um yeah, this seems like a game that is I'm gonna be honest. I think that this could be a very one-sided series because while both teams are very good, it feels like both teams really thrive in the early game, especially Dynasty Ruby, who just go through laning phase. They literally just fight you in laning phase and just skill check every team that they go against.
Yep.
If Dynasty Ruby cannot get the leads that they've been getting in other games in this game, in the early game, then we might see them struggle because that's like the kind of territory they're not prepared for. I feel like every single series that they've played so far, they've just won from laning phase. And if Worth are like, okay, we just have to kind of hold out until laning phase, and then we can beat them through team fighting or macro or whatever, then I feel like Worth are definitely going to be able to pull ahead. And Dynasty Ruby might not be able to adapt. So that's a possibility, but the reciprocal is also equally probable where Dynasty Ruby just continuously smash them through lane phase and just blitz the game through there. I think that I don't know which team is going to win, but I would assume and I would be willing to bet it's going to be a 2-0 and not a 2-1.
So I need to say this because it's actually pretty funny. Aris just mentioned here on DMs that uh might be worth mentioning that Worth did significantly better against TA Exodia than Dynasty did. So just want to throw
Yeah.
out there because Aris shared information. Moving on to the Hextech group, we actually have Going Boosters versus Team Shadow Frost Dominion. That's going to be streamed. You also have SG Dark Matter versus Forsaken Deity. Conduit Esports Kraken versus BF Dreadnoughts. I also think this one there's no much contention for the match to watch. I think it is going to be Going Boosters versus Shadow Frost Dominion. Two pretty good teams facing each other, and Team Shadow Frost, I believe, yes, so they can be going for a 3-0, and I don't see Kraken losing to PF Dreadnoughts, but they could potentially lock themselves as top one on the week 3. Like
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah. I agree. I think going Buddhist versus TSFD is probably going to be the match to watch. That being said, I feel like this conference in particular, what are we on, the Chemtech conference? No, not the Chemtech, the Hextech conference. This one to me is probably the closest. Like in terms of like the 6 teams that are competing, I feel like Conduit Esports, Kraken, and TSFD, they're both good, but they've both dropped games, right? Like they both are 4-1, and it feels like TSFD can definitely lose to going Buddhist because they are also very good. Like they're 3-2. They're only 1 win behind TSFD. So I think it'll be if going Buddhist win this series, I think Hextech is going to be a very interesting conference with these 3 teams being Conduit Esports Kraken, TSFD, and going Buddhist. Like if they lose, it's going to be a very interesting conference.
yeah, for sure. Um, so that's pretty much it for this week. We are. Let me see here real quick. So we've been live for almost 3 hours. So actually, that was a bit longer than last week. It was actually pretty good. Much appreciated you guys for coming in. Just one
Hmm.
final announcements for you guys from my side. Which is one second. So basically, so tomorrow we're gonna be streaming our team ETP Eclipsing Tides Penumbro on AML at I believe 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you're gonna catch week 3 over there for the Masters League, and on Friday we'll be back streaming Eclipsing Tide Solar versus I already forgot Team Ambition Exodia. We're gonna face you guys and Aris. I want to see how you're gonna pull off. We're gonna have changes on our teams for sure, and we're looking forward for that series. Hopefully, we're gonna bounce back with ET teams this week, and hopefully we're gonna get the tools. I'm sorry, but I got to cheer for my ARC, dude. Uh, so yes, if you wanna, support us, come say hi, watch with us. It's gonna be pretty chill. Um, we have a new caster with us. Lucas doing an amazing job, and really, really nice to have him here with us. And just want to point out, and we'll be back next Monday on the podcast. So remember, after your matches, if you guys want to have the clips here, if you want to send the replay files, just put the files on the link for your matches for week 3. I'm gonna post them by Wednesday, Thursday, so just keep an eye out for it. Or you can just DM me those as well. You can do either or. It's completely fine. Just search for Cam Nario in the Discord or just Cam and just send me those. I'm there on AGL Rust, AGL Discord. Also, if you guys do stream, just post on the AGL stream and I'll be able to catch it as well, and I'll share here, whatever you guys prefer. So if you want to have your
Okay.
games here, your VODs, anything, just share and I'll bring it to the screen and we can talk and laugh and have some fun. So with that being said, Quax,
Hmm.
Robbie, thank you very much for coming. It was amazing. Chat, much love. A lot of people engaging, talking. I loved it. So thank you very much. I wish you guys have a good night, good week, and do you guys have anything to share? Shout outs to say, feel free to do it.
Yeah, just thank you everyone for coming. It was actually really fun to be on here. I really enjoyed reviewing the games, talking to chat, reviewing, all the really good plays. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, be sure to catch the AGL stream on Friday with the streamed match, where me and Brittany will be going over it live in front of hopefully a lot of you who just want to interact. And yeah, a special thank you to Eclipsing Tides for having me on here. Hopefully it's not the last time. And yeah.
It's always a pleasure, man. Always a
Yeah,
pleasure.
thanks for having me as well. It was a fun time.
Hmm.
Yep. And I'm gonna so I'm gonna find someone so we can raid. But chat, have a good night, enjoy the week, and peace out. We'll see you guys tomorrow on AML for week 3. With that said,
Bye.
bye bye.
Cheers. Take care.